took me so long because, once again, I'm an idiot and I forgot that I had to go through Chrome, that I couldn't go through Mozilla. And Mozilla is what I use all the time because it's the only thing that works. Chrome drives me crazy. Like, I can't see with this because I'm standing too far. Okay, I'm on the Chrome right now and I'm getting my links. Now, you know that if you want a link, all you have to do is DM me because I'm cool like that. And I want everybody to be able to share their stories. This is, I try to keep things a little lighthearted with my broadcasts, because I don't want anyone to feel nervous, upset. These are serious topics. You don't come about telling them easily. So what I try to do when I talk to everybody is say, hey, open up, feel comfortable. If you need me to ask you questions, to come along and feel more comfortable, by all means. Let me open up my Twitter real quick, so I can DM people links. But I want you to be comfortable. I want you to. Why does it want me to do this? Okay, wait a minute. I want you to be comfortable. Get your drink. If you need a hard drink, if you need a glass of wine to get through this, hey. It's all good. We're gonna talk about this and all these things that we've been through, that we've had in our lives. Violence, terror. Why will this not let me get in? Oh, it's saying having count. Why does it want me? I'm sorry. I'm having technical difficulties today. Mainly because I can't remember how to do anything. I have been working since probably 7 o'clock this morning, and I've been writing. I don't know if you all know what I do. I see patients in my practice, but then I also write for a marketing company, because for 20 years I was in advertising and marketing and public relations. And before I decided I didn't like to do that anymore, and I wanted to do something different. I wanted to go into psychology, and then I went back to school for eons. And okay, I'm sending out, let's see, Jane, take your time, throw some corn to the deer. Okay, and you could probably do it without earphones. I'm seeing Kelly and a bunch of other people saying, oh shit, what did I do? Saying that can they do it without earphones? I used to do it without earphones all the time when I wasn't on the panel a lot. But even when I was on the panel, I could be on and not have a problem. It was, I don't know, it's crazy. But so if you don't have earphones and you're like, am I going to be able to do this? Yeah, you probably can. It shouldn't be any problem. But we'll get it all straightened out. Okay. Let me see. I've got to get back to Twitter because I can't seem to do anything right today. There we go. All right. Paste. You can do it without the earphones. You can mod without the earphones. And y'all are good. If you don't have earphones, I am sending the links out through Twitter right now. So if you want to be on the panel, I'll send you a link, and you can tell me when you want to come on. Thanks, Jan. I'll get my nails done tomorrow. I can't stand it anymore. Anybody who wants to come in is welcome. Like I say, we just take our turns and we talk about it. I want everyone to feel like they're comfortable and relaxed. And, like I said, these are hard things to talk about. Okay. And there's my beautiful girl. I am going to send her the link. That's right. Okay. Whether you do it Beyond Beauty, honey, whether you do it for your phone or YouTube for your phone, you'll hear Google Hangouts, but we'll just see which one's easier. I'm still learning this. Like I said, I had to figure out that I was in the wrong browser, but and I can't hear anything right now. And I've got some mods this week, so hopefully no trolls. Here's Michelle. Michelle, I've sent you a link to go on panel, but of course you know where I am. And let me see. Anybody else that might want? I have several ladies here. I have to say this, I have been overwhelmed by the response. When I first started this last week, I was like, is anybody gonna want to talk? Is anybody gonna, are they gonna feel comfortable enough to open up? And I was so surprised, and then all the DMs with people telling. I had a lady in the Middle East get in touch with me and tell me her story. It broke my heart. I cried. You can never hear about domestic violence and not cry. And can anyone hear? I bet y'all can't hear a word I'm saying. I told y'all I was an idiot today. Okay, let's see. Still sending links. And if I've missed anybody, just send me another DM. I'm always happy to put it out. I definitely want everyone to have an opportunity. Okay, let's see. I hear somebody. Hang on, let me switch over. Who's in the chat with me? Love nature. Well, hello, darling. Why have I got you? Are you muted? No, I don't think so. Say something, sweetheart. Have I screwed something up? No. Okay, do you have yourself muted? I should have myself muted. I don't think so. I don't know.
Hello?
Hey, I can hear you. Oh, wow. Hi, Beth. We got two Beths on here.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. That's absolutely wonderful.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Oh, I got to turn my YouTube. I got to mute the volume because, like a dummy, I don't think I did. I told y'all my mind. I have been running my butt off today. Oh, don't you wish you could really run your butt off? Because if I could, might have been gone a long time ago. But I think I have run my butt off today, and it's just I pooped and I can't think. I'm not thinking well. Okay, let me see. Let me get this pulled up. All right.
Let's not talk about pooing and thinking, shall we?
Yeah, you need to stay off the shitter. I swear, I know more about your bowel movements than I know about my husband's, and that's saying a lot. No poo talk. But Beth has IBS, so she has issues. God love your heart. But I'm really happy that you all came today, and I hope we can have a good conversation. The conversation last week was so wonderful. The response I got, I was overwhelmed. Okay, wait a minute. Let me open up, you little bugger. I'm gonna start cussing. Okay, now I have to just turn the mute down, and this way I can see the chat. Does everybody set up so they can see chat and talk and hear?
I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you see the chat on this? I'm on my phone, so.
Oh, okay. What you do is you switch over just to YouTube, and you'll have to mute the YouTube, but you have to go on the screen. I don't know what kind of phone you have, but you mute the screen. But you hear through the Google Hangouts, but you see what the chat is. And hello, everybody. Now I can see the chat. Mama 3. Hi, Jane. Lace with Lacey, Tammy Sully. I have to say everything. I feel like I'm in Romper Room, but I love it. Everybody that's in here, I really appreciate you coming. Let's see. And Michelle Staggs, let me see. I'm going to make Michelle a mod. She's so good and level-headed. So, why is it saying go to channel? How do you run this channel? I'm still learning. Okay, add moderator. There we go. Okay, so I've got you, Michelle, as a mod, and hey, Proof is in the pudding. Hi, doll baby. I'm so glad you got to come. And let me see. I'm going to put Josephine. We'll go ahead and put you in the box. And that way I have plenty of people in case we're going to troll like we did last week. And that idiot has made 2 videos on me. And he's just stalking me. And my husband's about ready to release his mouth. Okay. Let's go ahead and get to the chat. I wanted to tell you all something that happened today. I don't know if you read the New York Post, but let me share this with you. Who's scraping? All right, wait. What's up? Love nature, is that you, honey? Okay, is your microphone sliding across? Okay, I have somebody else coming in. I'm going to have to mute. Maybe that's what it is, and I'll mute them. I know, Jane, romper room. Doesn't that make you think of it, though?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I need you to mute yourself for a minute, honey, because we're getting a lot of static. Hey, Blonde Point, Blonde PT. Hi, Shells in Ireland. I am so happy that we have such a lovely group. Okay, I wanted to talk to you about something that we're always talking about in the White House here, and Trump he's been through his accusations, which, you get the side eye and you're like, okay. But you wonder if he's going to be strict on the people underneath him. Well, the shit hit the fan. Apparently, the White House on Thursday said President Trump learned of domestic abuse allegations against top aide Rob Porter only a day before he resigned. Speaking at a press briefing that was delayed for 2 hours and 42 minutes, Deputy White House spokesman Raj Shah said the FBI's background check had not been completed and that Porter was serving as chief of staff, John Kelly's senior aide, with only an interim security clearance. So he was basically the chief of staff for John Kelly, and he beat the shit out of, pardon my language, but he beat the shit out of 2 wives. And because when they were doing the rudimentary check, nobody said anything about that. And if you've ever been through, which, like, my brother has FBI clearance, so I know how they interview everybody, but nobody said anything about him having a domestic abuse, 2 of them against him, and both wives left, and it was serious. I mean, well, the New York Post put a picture of the first wife with a black eye on the front. But anyway, they have made firm statements that absolutely no one who has any domestic violence on their record, is even accused of it, will be considered for staff. So I thought that was pretty good. We're getting the Me Too movement, and with all the allegations of sexual harassment that have come out, it's hit the White House, and I'd like to see some big changes going on, because in business, I know I've been sexually harassed so much, and there are people that I worked with that I knew were abusive, and their wives could say nothing. Now at least the government is taking a forefront on it. Okay, who's taking pills?
Sorry, I'm getting my son's medicine ready. He's leaving for the weekend.
That's all right. I heard it. I was like, whoa, somebody's taking Xanax or something. But okay.
Can I just ask a question about, like, obviously I don't understand how the US does things, but his 2 ex-wives, was it never reported to the police?
They did go to the police, but sometimes they don't. The FBI, the way they do their investigation when they hire someone, when they have someone new in office, they go to their family first. They go like to their mom, their dad. Like, I was interviewed for my brother. Our grandparents, they were asked how he was growing up. Then, and the criminal background check, it takes a little while. I mean, to get a full criminal background check takes a few days, but I don't know why they waited as long as they did. However, the news comes out and they busted him. But I know that my brother David, it took about a month to get through his, because he has really high level security clearance. And he, and he was nervous about it. He was like, I don't know if they're going to pull up the time when I was 12 and we broke into the school and we're looking around, and which that wasn't on anything, because they were kids. They were literally just going room to room going, oh, I was second grade there, and I was third grade there, and this so-and-so was there. And he got in trouble. He got taken by the police. The police saved him and his buddy. And, but no, they didn't do that. But they didn't worry about that. But like his college behavior, they talked to his girlfriends. They talked to his ex-girlfriends, which was a long list. And I guess they finally got to this guy's domestic violence charge. Nobody had said anything. They were all protecting him. But when they got to it, they took immediate action. They literally said, get your shit and go. So I'm really happy about that. He wasn't in there very long. But
so they found, once they did the background check and they found that he's been done for domestic abuse, they got rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Okay. No, I thought that they sort of ignored it and let him carry on. I misheard it. My bad.
No, and now and Trump has issued a statement, as well as the White House spokesperson, that anyone with any accusations, even an allegation of domestic violence or child abuse, any of that, will not even be in consideration for a job within the White House, the FBI, CIA. And I think it's great.
But that should be a thing. That should be a thing, though, anyway, because over here in the UK, if you're in any sort of healthcare, if you're in any high government position, if you're working at 10 Downing Street, if your security background check comes back that you've got any form of criminal record, you don't get in, even if it's like, nicking a sweet from a shop or something. I mean, I get checked. My DBS, which is Disbar Scotland, my DBS gets done every 2 years. So obviously, if I get done for anything in those 2 years, I've lost my job anyway.
Exactly. Jane was saying that her husband has a secret clearance, and and they did her like they did my brother. They went back and found people in his life from 10, 15 years prior. They turned over every stone they could, and that's what they did. I know with my brother, but that takes time, and so they must have let him in, and they hadn't finished a full clearance. But as soon as they found out, it sounds like somebody's snorting something. What is that? But what, sweetheart? What,
I don't have earphones. Can you find my earphones?
Oh, I can't. You could do it without earphones. Is this Kelly?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Is your phone sliding against anything?
No, the light is rubbish.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go through the chat. I'm seeing some things in here that I think we need to address.
Okay, right. I can't see the chat, so if anyone asks me a question, you're gonna just have to yell it at me, all right?
I sure will. Okay, Lace with Lacey, it says, I was stalked and harassed by an ex-best friend who was a female. She went crazy. Was she overly clingy beforehand? I mean, we see in Single White Female, the movie, that shows a woman becoming attached to a woman in a sociopathic manner. Was she behaving like that? Did she want to, be close to you all the time, and then when you let her go, she kind of lost it? Because that happens too. Domestic violence happens between women, and it happens between men and women, and men and men. So, we can't discount the best friend who suddenly moves in with you and, starts wearing your clothes and starts doing her makeup like you and wearing her hair like you, and, and can be very violent when rejected, and that's dangerous.
Did you see in the news? I did post it on my Twitter, but it coincides with this. Over here in the UK, there was a girl called Molly, 23 years old, who was killed this month by her ex-boyfriend 12 days after they split up. She ended it because she had concerns. He was possessive. She didn't want to be in there. She left him. He started stalking her. She told her friend, she told a family member. She went to the police twice to report it. They did nothing. And then from what I understand by reading it and seeing the footage, she went to a gym. He came in to work out next to her, so she left. He got to her in the car park, broad daylight, and stabbed her to death, brutally stabbed her in front of a load of people.
Oh,
And
dear
he just,
God.
when the police turned out, he's covered in blood, just wandering around like, yeah, you know, what,
Yeah.
you know, like she deserved it. But he never hit her in the relationship. He just was really possessive, would shout at her, from what's been let out. I mean, you can Google it, Molly McLaren, and he's Joshua Stimson. But that only came out in the news, I think, the 6th of February this year.
Okay. Kelly says, my ex-husband worked for the NHS for 4 years with domestic violence charges. Then he slipped through those cracks because they're supposed to not. They're not supposed to be able to do that. And the idea that someone could get away with working for the NHS and have those tendencies of domestic violence, that's scary. And Lacey, what was she on? Wait a minute, I got to scroll up for just a second. Y'all hang on just a minute.
Everyone around
Lacey,
me knew.
They all knew?
Everyone around me knew what was happening. And
Josephine
did nothing.
says hi. Why don't you start from the beginning with your story? And because we're kind of bouncing all over the place from from what's happened in the past and new news stories and things that are going on. Why don't you start with how you met? How you met him?
Well, I guess I should start with I came from a family that was abusive.
Mm-hmm. So your childhood.
Yeah, and his family was too. We both came from broken homes. So we really didn't know what normal love was, I guess. And we knew each other growing up too. We had known each other since we were 9. And he went away for a while, and then he showed up at my door when we were in our 20s, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And
he just showed up?
Yeah, he showed up and knocked at my door.
Oh, my Lord.
We were 20s. And
wow.
Came in and made me breakfast. And that was the first person I think that ever did something for me. Because I guess I have to explain, I was kind of brainwashed into being the caregiver for my family. No matter how they treated me, I was supposed to fix all of their problems. I was supposed to be the one that took care of everybody in my family. My family had a lot of problems. So I never had anybody that did anything for me.
The chats want you to say your name so they know they want everybody to say their name so they know who's talking, because it's kind of difficult.
Oh,
just whatever you want to go by.
Yeah, Love Nature is my name on here.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so he showed you kindness.
Yeah, he showed me kindness, and I guess I saw signs that there was a problem. My dog's going nuts in the background. Can you guys hear that?
I hear it. Yeah, I hear him.
Sorry.
I was like, okay, his dog's going crazy, because it's usually mine going yapping and barking and everything. It's okay. We love our dog.
I'm sorry. He wants his toys, but he has all his toys, so I don't know what his deal is.
That's okay.
But he showed me kindness, and I saw signs, but I ignored signs. He smoked marijuana, so I mean, I saw signs. And then I was told I can never get pregnant because I had a lot of health problems, and I ended up pregnant. So we got married pretty quickly. And I guess about 3 months in was when I was really aware that we had a problem.
Okay. What's going on? We're getting feedback. Who's somebody's giving feedback, but I don't think it's you.
Sorry.
Joe, just mute yourself.
Oh, hang on. Right, let me just find. I'm new to all this. 1 second. Hang on.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, if you're not telling your story, just go ahead and mute yourself. That way we've only got one person and me on the panel, and that way we won't get all the feedback. So you got married. It wasn't planned, but a child is a blessing. But before you got pregnant, you said that he would do something nice for you, and then you would ignore something that was a negative, and that's something that I want to bring out so everyone sees that just because somebody's nice to you 1 minute, and then there's what we call a red flag the next. You can't discount it because
well, like yeah, we went to a bar because he wanted to go to a bar and I was pregnant, and he was going around getting girls' phone numbers, but they weren't for him. He was a very good looking guy, and he had a friend, and he would go around and get these phone numbers from these girls, but they weren't for him. They were for his friend. And I was like, this is horrible. And then we went and we got in the car, and on the way to the car, he squirted me in the eye with windshield washer fluid. He rolled my hands up in the window. And it was just like, what is going on? I mean, there were so many signs that this was not okay. But for me, it was more love than I had ever seen.
Right.
So I don't know. But like 3 months after having the baby, we all had the flu, and the baby was so sick, and I was so sick, and he was sick, and the baby had no clothes left. And so I was like, can you feed the baby so I can wash some clothes? And he looked at me and told me he was just too sick to do that. And I was like, look, you're either going to feed the baby or you're going to leave because I've had enough. And he got up.
How did he take you standing up then?
Huh?
How did he take you standing up to him?
He got up, he flung me and the baby across the room.
Oh, God.
And he went and he packed all of his things. He filled up his trailer and he left and he went to his mom's.
Good. I hope he stayed. Take him back.
He stayed for about a week and then I let him back in.
And that's where we have our biggest downfall is with forgive. We forgive sometimes too easily. And I tell people who they're like, but I'm forgiving. I'm like, why are you forgiving? You can forgive forgiving is for us, but forgetting keeps us safe. It keeps us from being safe. You can forgive and say, I forgive you for what you did, but just don't come back. So don't forget what you did.
Well, it went on for 15 years.
Oh my God.
I had my nose broken. I had my arm broken. I was thrown up against walls. My brother came and threatened him. My children witnessed things they shouldn't have. At 3 years old, I remember my son walking from one room to the other in the hallway as I was being choked to the point of passing out. And I remember just thinking, how do I get out of this? How do I get out of this? And so for 2 years, after 15 years, for about 2 years, I tried to plan to get out of it. But I'm disabled. And a lot of it's due to how beaten I was. And I also have MS, so I don't have much money. So I didn't know how I would get out of it. And every time I had made him leave, he would overdraw our bank account so that there was no money in it.
Yeah.
So I knew when he left that I would have no money. So I
Wow.
opened a private savings account and started sticking a little bit of money in there to try to, you know, have enough to
That's
just kind of
smart.
survive.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm listening. I gotta grab my tea kettle. Hang on just a second. Just keep on going. I hear you. Oh.
So I waited and waited and waited, and then my son and my daughter, they were, I think, 11 maybe and 9, and they
Ready?
had been telling me that I should get a divorce.
Ready?
And at that point, when your kids are telling you, you know it's time.
Right. Josephine, I need you to mute, honey. You're coming through.
Oh shit! Oh,
Mute.
I'm
That's
sorry, I thought I was.
That's all right. Well, so okay, back to it. We're at a very serious point. So your children talked you into leaving.
Yeah, my children had said they had had enough, you know, and I thought at that point they were also old enough. That was another thing. I wanted to make sure they were old enough to tell their side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to make sure that they were old enough to tell me if anything was happening to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I like I said, I saved as much as I could. And he came home one day and the kids were at school and I told him he needed to leave.
Good.
And he left, but I think he thought I would have him come back. He came home and the kids were at school and I told him he needed to leave.
You're coming through on your other screen. It's echoing back, but that's okay. Keep going. We'll put up with that because your story is more important than any echo or anything like that.
So
your children,
he I think he thought that I would have him come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he thought I would have him come back, and he took all the money like I thought he would. In fact, he overdrew the account by like $750.
He's a
and
prize.
I didn't have him come back. And like a couple weeks later, I got a phone call from him saying that he was going to go to jail because he owed the bank so much money. And I said, well, that's on you because it shows on the bank account how much money you withdrew on your card. So it's not my responsibility. One thing I will say is there's not a lot of help for women that leave these situations. I was left pretty helpless. You know, there was a program to help pay the electric bill. There was, I think, a program to help get food stamps, but it took almost, I want to say 2.5, 3 months to get that going. So, you know that.
So how do you eat in the meantime? How do you eat?
I had disability, so that was enough to like get us food. But as far as like paying rent and things like that, all of that stuff kind of fell behind. And when talking to lawyers and stuff, I'm like, he owes this stuff. These are his bills. You know, he was here for this time. He owes these things. My children did not want to see him, and he dropped out of their life. He didn't even try to see them. I think it was almost a year before he wanted to see them, and that was when he got a girlfriend.
So he wanted to play daddy. He wanted to act like he was playing a good daddy. Yeah.
Only when he got a girlfriend. I'm going to put the dog out because the dog won't stop.
Okay.
Hold on just one second.
That's fine, honey. You take your time. I want to address some people in the chat real quick.
Okay.
Lace and Carrie, I'd love to have you come on and tell your stories. Now,
Go.
I know DMT, my Kelly girl, she's having microphone issues, but we're going to have to send her a microphone. But Lace, I'd like to have you come on and speak if you want. And, you know, I've got the link if you want me to share it to you. And Carrie, I would love to have you on as well. Now, I want, we've got, you know, a couple hours and, you know, we can talk about this. The thing you mentioned, nature, is that there is no immediate help. Like, I knew that, okay, and when I was in an abusive relationship and I was 25 and I had a child and I was not, I call it pride, whatever. I was not going to ask my parents because I would have heard, I told you so, we didn't like him in the beginning, and what did you do to make him do that to you, and blah, blah, blah. And I was lucky enough to have a friend that let me go stay with her and take my child. Of course, her child and my child were best friends, and she and I have been best friends for years. But she let me go and stay with her, and she helped me get a job, and I was, because I had been in radio and media, and she got me a job bartending. And, you know, but if I hadn't had her, I would have been without food, without toilet paper. You know, people don't think of these things. And the women's shelters, they help some, but they don't help all of us. And, you know, where do you reach out? And I would like to see that change. You know, if anything, if we do anything more than just, you know, have a safe space here and be able to talk about, I would like to see the women in this group and the women who join. I'd like to see some changes come into effect. But one of the things that we look at is go ahead, honey.
I had one friend. I kind of disconnected from my family because my family thought, my family was of the mindset that if a man is going to financially support you, then, you know, you just stick through it. Because, see, my dad was abusive and my mom stuck through it. And my whole family kind of was like that. Like this is going to get deep, but my uncle was abusive to the point that my aunt shot my uncle.
Wow.
And, you know, a lot of my family just dealt with abuse. And I saw myself going down the same path. And I was like, I'm breaking this cycle. My children will not grow up like this.
Good.
They're going to know love. They're going to know that their mom was strong enough to walk away from this, and that this isn't okay, that it's not okay for somebody to hit you. And I didn't care about the money, you know.
That is great.
You know, when we went to court, that was a whole nother story. I had to get like a lawyer that was a discount lawyer. And because he was a discount lawyer, he just kept telling me, well, it's cheaper to do this. And I knew that my ex didn't really want anything to do with the kids. He just wanted the cheapest route, and he wanted everything that we had that was worth money. So I played the game of, you can have everything that we have that's financially worth money, and then I want the most custody of the kids that I can have.
Does he have any visitation or any rights?
Huh?
Did you take his parental rights? Did you get them?
He only has every other weekend visits. And he does that for the most part, but then like he wanted to go to Hawaii, so he went to Hawaii and missed his visits. You know, like,
went to Hawaii. Wow. Okay,
yeah.
If he's got enough money to go to Hawaii, maybe you need to go back and get some more child support.
Well, and that's another funny thing. He gets 10% discount on his child support, and he gets to file the children on his taxes every year.
Oh, no. Let me tell you how to get around that. Okay. Let me tell you how to get around that. You're on disability, right?
Yeah.
You're allowed to make just under $2,000 a month in addition to your disability. Now, if you can find something, whether it's babysitting and I have friends who make like $3-4 grand a month babysitting because they do newborns and young children, and they're good with children. But if you can find, and there are jobs online. It just depends on what your talents are. But if you can find a job where you can make, like I think it's $1,780 a month, then take his butt back to court and tell him you want to claim the children and you want his child support up because his standard of living has gone up in yours. Now you can get a court-appointed attorney too, because you're the victim here, you're the mom, and in juvenile court, oftentimes you don't even need a lawyer. But I took my first husband back to court and started telling about how he never picked her up, and I had to do all the running and all this, and I got my child support up without really hardly asking for it. But you take this back. Those are his kids too, and he should have to pay. And you're disabled, and God knows MS is hard enough to deal with. One of my best friends in the world has MS, and you take his butt back.
Well, my attorney told me to keep a list of all the things that he's doing, because he's doing like a bunch of stuff that's just not okay. And he told me to keep a list, and then we'll go back to court. But like, he called for I forget what they're called, but it's a person that investigates the children for abuse. Yeah, he called a guardian ad litem on me.
No.
And when the children went in and talked to the guardian ad litem, and then the guardian ad litem called me in, the guardian ad litem was so confused. He's like, I'm confused. He called the guardian ad litem, he called me on you, but he's the abuser.
Exactly.
And I was like,
and see, that's what happens. That's when you need to make sure that you also have a court-appointed psychologist.
Yeah.
And that then the kids, open up, and then you need to be able to go as well. And it'll be offered to him, but he will tell on himself. Let me tell you, there is not an abuser in the world that does not tell on themselves in therapy. Yeah. We know how to deal with them.
Well, see, and he's at this point, he's not really running the divorce. His well, I guess it's his wife now. She's running the divorce. When I email, she's emailing back and saying it's him. Like, I'm dealing with her, not him.
Save all of it. Yeah. Save every bit of it, and make sure that when you go back to court, you have it. And I just want to say that you're very brave to take all this on. It's sick with 2 children and fighting this. And I hope you're in therapy.
I forgot to tell you there's 2 horrifying details in this whole thing that I forgot to tell you.
Okay. Katie, I'll address you in a minute. Go ahead.
One was, when I first made him leave, we had a dog that was 100 and something pounds that, because of my MS, I just couldn't handle. It was a dog that was not very well trained. And I told him he needed to take his dog. And he kept refusing and refusing and refusing. And finally, my dad came and got the dog and said, I'm just going to take the dog to his house, because I actually got hurt. I fell down the back stairs and got hurt. And so my dad and my uncle take the dog over to his house. And then the kids end up going with him for Easter. Now, this was on a Saturday. My dad took the dog over there. Easter was that Sunday. And the kids come home on Easter Sunday, and they're in tears. And he had taken the dog and put the dog to sleep.
Put the dog
and
to
told
sleep?
The kids.
At the vet?
Yeah. And told the kids on Easter Sunday. Yeah, and told the kids on Easter Sunday. And then most recently, like I said, he doesn't see the kids like regularly, but most recently, kind of as a threat to me, on the way home, he took the kids to a gun shop and bought a handgun on the way home to drop the children off. And it's like,
you don't have a 2-day waiting period in your state?
no.
Or
Mm-mm.
oh gosh. And
No.
has he been convicted of domestic violence, domestic abuse?
No, because
See-
like the way that our court case went, like I didn't even get to go in front of a judge. Like I didn't even get to present a case
That's not
or
right.
show anything. It was not a very like
This
good
has been
court
how many
case.
years ago that it started, and how long has it been going on from the beginning?
The divorce case started 3 years ago, and we just finally were able to sign papers probably 5 months ago.
So most likely the abuse, and the majority of abuse is beyond 7 years, and that's the problem. And I want to, and by you bringing this up, I want other people to understand that if you have someone who is abusive towards you, breaks your arm, throws you against the wall, whatever, if you're in a relationship or not, if you're living together or not, husband and wife or not, you go to the police, you file a criminal case. You need to go to the magistrate and have them do that, because if he had been convicted of domestic violence in a lot of states, he would not be able to own a handgun. And
Oh,
that's
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, most people don't. And that's why I say you need to, don't say, I forgive him, he won't do it again, and I'm not involving the police, and the police won't help me. You have to go to the police and demand. You say, this happened to me, these are my hospital records, this is what happened, these are the pictures of the bruises on my face, or arm, or wherever, and you have to go to the hospital. And you have to press charges against them. And even if you're married, press charges, and and the judge will say you have to leave the house, and they will actually help you with your divorce proceeding, and they will be harder on him because there's actual proof of physical violence. And emotional and psychological violence is harder to prove, but you had physical violence, and you should have told them when you go to get your arm set, say, my husband did this to me and I need help. And that's what I want people to understand. You have to say, I need help, and you can't be intimidated.
And that's where
the person.
That's where I made all my mistakes. Was I have all the x-rays, I have all those things, but I protected him over and over again.
Did.
When I had to go get everything fixed, I would always say I fell down the stairs, or I always had an excuse to protect him.
I ran into the door frame. I fell sleepwalking. I've fallen down the steps. I went down the back steps. I went through the door.
Yeah.
I've said them and I've heard them. And, and by you telling your story, listen, I don't want you to feel guilt over this. It's not your fault. You were trying to be right. He's the one that's at fault. But you telling your story will help others.
And he would always say, I'm going to get help. And he went as far as to go to the doctor and get medication. He was diagnosed with bipolar, so he would go get the medication. He would take it for about a week or two. We would see a difference, and then all of a sudden he would stop taking it again.
Right.
So he would always he would always show that he was going to try to make a difference, and then he didn't.
Well, his new wife will learn the hard way, and I would be open to her and tell her, say, you're with an abuser, and when he turns on you, call me, I'll help you. And we have to help each other.
Someone asked why I chose to defend him. I had known him all my life, and all I had ever known all my life was abuse. And my parents, my dad broke my jaw as a child, and he got caught,
God.
not because I told on him, but because they had to take me to the doctor, and the doctor knew by the marks on my face that someone had to have done it. And he was arrested.
I am so sorry. Oh my God.
But I was
You live
always,
what you learn. You know,
I was
we
always,
live what we're taught and learn.
yeah, and I was always taught that you protect your family, and my husband was my family. So you're taught to protect them. But my life now is totally different. Like, I've retrained my brain. I've just done a 180, and now
That's good.
it's totally different. And
teach your kids
it's
that.
yeah, and that's another thing. Like, I'm teaching my kids a totally different lesson, and we're happy and we're at peace, and they know this is like their happy place. This is their comfort. They know this is safe, and it's just a totally different world that we're living in now than what we were, and
Can I? Oh, sorry.
no, that's okay.
I just wanted to point out where you said that, that's all you've ever known is abuse because of the way you were treated from such a young age.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people understand that is, if you go back to basic psychology, nature versus nurture, and how someone's raised. So, for example, I'm not defending an abuser, but if you take an abuser that has been abused themselves, they could either go two ways. Well, there's three ways, but the two prominent ways would be they could either become an abuser themselves or a bully, or they could become someone that basically is that insecure that they jump from, say, abusive relationship to abusive relationship because they know no better. But then you can get that one person that stands up and goes, no, this isn't right. They walk away from everything when they're able to.
And that's the rarity. That's right there. That is like a 2%. 98% of the people who have genetic predisposition to violence and different disorders, mental disorders, and who are also raised in an environment where there has been abuse, 98% will turn into abusers themselves, or they will flip like the 2%, like Justin was saying. The 2% will flip and they will become the abused. They will stand for nearly just nothing. But what I wanted to say is that, you need to understand that, you accepted his abuse because you were taught abuse, and you were taught that that was what you learned. You deserved it. You felt like you deserved it, and as a child, and so that
I did a lot of. I did a lot of digging into my family to kind of try to understand how this all came about. And my grandpa's grandpa was an alcoholic and abused them. And then my grandpa and my grandma, like, their way of punishment was to grab a 2x4 and beat up my dad and his brothers and sisters, and then my mom's family was worse too. So, like, did my mom and dad abuse me? Yes. But was their abuse less than what they went through? Yes. So.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Was your husband an alcoholic?
Yeah. I guess I would say he was an alcoholic. He didn't drink on the daily, but when he drank to the point of blacking out.
Yeah. And he got violent when he was drunk.
Yes. He actually picked up one of his friends and threw him down on the ground so hard that he broke his friend's ribs. And not because they were fighting. Yeah, not because they were fighting. They were just playing. And that was when he was drunk. So,
hang on. Let me pause for just a second. There are some questions I've got to answer in the chat. First of all, Katie, I sent you that book to read. I know you're not. Is she still in here? Is Katie in here? I sent her a book to read. Read it. It's about understanding what all the crap you've been going through is. And then my last video. It's all about borderline personality disorder. And the people that we care about who have it and how to treat it and how to understand it. That's why I sent that book. Now, Drama Queen, hello. I'm so glad you're here. I think it's great. She's got a daughter that's going to daddy-daughter dance. I love those. I think it's so important for daughters to bond with fathers outside of the home, and they learn how to behave with a gentleman that's taking care of them. You know, because a lot of our girls don't see that. Let's see. This is depressing. Well, yeah, it is. Katie, we're talking about abuse and violence. It's not exactly upbeat. I'll start cussing if you want. I'll let out a fuck you every now and then, but fuck that son of a bitch. But yeah, this is not going to be a happy time. Yours make me laugh. This might get serious. But I love you, Katie. Read the book. Okay, let's see. Who else had asked questions? Let's see. Mama, 3 boys. All you do is clean. I swear. She listens and she cleans. I love it. She needs to come to my house and clean. And thank you. Thank you for saying I'm smart. Sometimes I feel stupid. But okay, I think I've gotten back through. I feel it sometimes when I lose my temper. And if you all seen my bitching in the kitchen, you know when I lose my temper, sometimes I trip over my words and I feel like an idiot. And but yeah, there's the bitching in the kitchen coming up soon. Well, John, I'm really glad that you are a survivor now, and that your children are learning a better way. And if you need anything, reach out to me, okay? Because we're here for you. And, you know, I want everyone to know. Hi, Nick. I want everyone to know that whoever, when we share our chats and when we share what's going on, you know, we need support after that, because it's almost it's draining to the point that you almost feel empty sometimes. Are you feeling that way right now? Okay. Well, I want you to know that if you need to talk, you know, contact us. Just anybody that's, you know, me in the chat, Jane, Michelle, we're all, you know, Josephine, Mumsy Musings, you know, she's a mental health worker as well. And, you know, if there's, you can always DM me, you know that, okay?
Well,
I'm always here. You know, drop me a tweet if you want to chat, or a DM. I'm all like, I'll answer when I'm about. You might get a short answer if I'm at work. But, you know, I'll always reply. I'll always sit and have a chat. You know, I'm more than happy to listen if you ever, or if anyone ever just wants to rant, get it off their chest, because, you know, venting's good for you. You've got to get that off of your chest, you know.
And the good thing is that with, you know, with the technology we've got, we can actually talk voice to voice, or we can do text to text. But I want everybody to know, you know, you and everyone that has a story when you're going through this, and because we have flashbacks to it, it comes back and forth and back and forth, and you know, you need the support, and it's here. You know, you don't have to worry about finding someone, because if I'm not awake, you know, Joe's awake, and Mumsy Musings is awake, you know, our friends across the ponds are up when we're not, and you know, so there's always someone here. But I thank you so much for your story, and let's see if there's someone else that wants to share. And
can I say one more thing?
You can, doll baby.
Can I say one more thing?
Of course.
Someone was saying this is depressing, and I just wanted to say that it was hell to go through all of it. It was hell to go through all of it, but it also taught me that I am one hell of a strong woman. Like, I did not know that I could stand alone and stand that strong and make it through all of it. And even though there were nights that were really hard, there was never a night that I thought, I can't get through to the next day. Like I always knew I could get through to the next day. And now there is just this complete peace.
I love that.
Like I never knew there could be so much peace and safeness and just not being scared to come home or not worrying about when somebody's going to walk through the door and are they going to be crabby or are they going to be happy, so the other side of it is so worth that being scared for that short amount of time. And does he still pull tricks? Yeah, but his tricks aren't enough to scare me anymore. I know that his tricks are trying to scare me, but they're not scaring me.
That's beautiful.
So
that shows.
So
that
if
shows
there's
you've
any,
grown.
if there,
You've got
yeah, if there's any women out there that are scared to do it because they're scared of what's going to happen or whatever, like the peace that you find on the other side of it is so worth it. So just know that, like, it's so worth it. So
And you're
that's all I
right.
want to say.
You were
That's
totally
beautiful.
right. I mean, I spent years after I finally got out from my marriage. I spent 2 years with him calling and texting, and literally the moment I pick up the phone, he'd be like, "Why haven't you called?" And I'm like, "Because I don't want to talk to you." And he'd be like, "Oh, you're turning my son against me." And I'd be shit scared, even though he was on the other side of the world at that point, and I'd be scared not to answer that phone because of the barrage of abuse he would send me.
Mhm.
But eventually, when I started my counselling, because I started my counselling at that 2-year point, and my psychologist was saying to me, "Beth, why are you letting him get to you? He's in a totally different country. He cannot do anything. And the only control he's got right now is you answering that mobile phone.
Right.
That is the only control he has. He's got no control over what you do in your daily life. He's got no control over what you're doing with your son. I mean, he used to phone and go, 'You've got money. Your government will hand you out benefits.' I'm like, 'I'm working.' They don't. I'm literally scraping by, and because at this point I was working in an office job and my money was just literally covering like my rent. My rent at the time was £650. My childcare a month was £600, and I literally had like 200 quid after my bills and that were paid to live off for food, which isn't a lot when you're paying out of that 200. I'm paying like 80 quid for transport, and he was going, "Why do I need to send you money?" I never asked him for money, but he was going, "You need to send me money." And I'm like, "Why?" But then by the time my 4th counselling session came around, I kind of like a light bulb went off in my head, like, no, he's got no control over me. So whenever he called, I'd put the phone down, because at that point there wasn't an ability on a mobile phone to, like put the calls straight through to answer machine and stuff.
Mhm.
And he would get that riled up that he kept calling and calling, and he'd withhold the number, and then he'd call from like a payphone. And I'm thinking, at the end of the day, it's him wasting his money when he goes through to my answer machine. He's paying international phone call rates, which was a bomb. And I'm thinking, you're just calling me, getting charged like 8 or 9 quid to put like a 1-minute rant on my voicemail. If that's what you want to do, you do that. I ain't listening to it. And then one day,
that just shows you how much he still wanted to control you, though.
Oh yeah,
it was all about control.
Mm-hmm.
He was horrible. And when I told him,
even if it was costing him so much money, he still wanted to control you.
Yeah,
that's the thing. And let me step in here for just a minute. That is the thing with men who abuse women. They cannot control them mentally. They feel inferior when a woman talks to them and that talks over their head. I know that the man who, spent his time beating me up, he wasn't very smart. Okay, he literally he was in the slow classes in school, and I had no idea when we got together that he really was, he was Forrest Gumping it. And here I am, and I've been in Mensa, and he was very intimidated by me intellectually, and that's what happens a lot. You'll see a guy that's intimidated by the woman mind and her capability, and all they have to control her with is physical domination and fear. So
Be right back.
Once you realize that, the only way that he can control you is by hitting you, you get out of the range. You get him out because you're smarter than he is, and don't give him that control. The first time you see, and I can't say this enough, the first time you see that there's abuse happening, first time he lays a hand on you, cracks you in the head with something, pushes you down, or tries to talk over you and hurt you, or make you feel bad about yourself, leave.
Stage from the players, and then it was 1-on-1. I almost got 2 of them. One I couldn't.
I don't think she's realised she's not muted. No.
No, somebody's not muted.
But I mean,
you have to take your power back. Yeah, just like Belladonna's saying, you have to take your power back. When you say you can't hit me anymore, you're too far away, and I don't care anymore about what you think. And okay, you can call me on the phone and waste, 6 or 7 quid on a phone call that you probably could have eaten dinner, had a little something nice to eat, or gotten a cookie. But if you want to call me and leave nasty messages on my phone, that's fine. You're an asshole for doing it, and I'm not going to listen to it, and it just shows how stupid you are. And when you get that mindset that, he's a dumbass, then it doesn't matter as much anymore. Now, when you have your kids involved, and they have to be around him, and they can't hear you say your dad's a dumbass, but, because you're not supposed to talk about the kid's father. But what you can say is he doesn't know how to control his temper, and if he loses his temper with you, you call me immediately, and I'll come and get you.
I have 2 sons, 2 teenage. Well, one of my sons is 20 now, but my other son is 16, and that has been a big fear of mine, that my children will end up like him because they've seen so much violence.
And that's a huge fear. Whether it's
that scares me.
It's whether like you see families sitting at a dinner table, and the mom slaps the dad for saying something wrong, and the father slaps. Like, has everybody seen the movie Saturday Night Live? Where
no.
Okay, well, there's a scene in the beginning where the mother slaps the father on the arm, and then the father slaps the son, John Travolta, in the hand. He's like, my hair, don't get my hair. But they literally are slapping each other all around the table, and I'm like, that is such a violence.
Yep.
Who slaps? I mean, I grew up like that. I'll be honest. My dad knocked me backwards out of my chair at the dining room table one time, and it was so stupid. My dad and my brother would chew food, and they would go, and they'd show each other. Well, I thought I would be funny too, and I did it to my mom. My mom screamed because my mom's crazy. Oh my God! Oh my God! And my dad took his backhand and knocked me backwards, and I fell completely back in the floor. I about choked on what was in my mouth, and I thought, why are you all able to do it, and I do it, and I get knocked out of my chair? But that was. That was an abusive environment, and but I never did that to my child. I thought about it a couple times. I never did it. But when the lady from Lebanon, I don't know if she's in here. I don't know what screen name she would be under, but she broke my heart, and she said that she went through a marriage, and the man was in Middle Eastern. She's in Lebanon. And she said that her daughter now forgives her for staying with her father, who was literally so abusive. He cut all the tendons in her foot. He hurt the children. But her son has become an abuser. He abuses every woman he's with. And, that's our big fear, that our daughters will learn to take it and our sons will learn to get it out, and that's normal. So if you feel like that, then you need to get your children into counseling and go with them.
Yeah. A lot of women think that when they're staying with their husbands, they're doing the right thing for the sake of the kids.
And it's not.
It's not, and it's not. It's not a good environment for kids to grow up in. To see kind of.
It's when you are staying with an abusive man, or if you're gay and staying with an abusive woman, or whatever. If there's abuse in the house, the children are going to learn it. And you know, thank God I went into therapy after I got married and went on. And I mean, I had an eating disorder. It was going between anorexia and bulimia, you know, and it was, my nerves were shot, I'll be honest with you. And my first husband didn't help it. But I started to go to therapy, and I started to learn about getting my power back, because that's what my eating disorder was, is me having some final control over myself. But you know, I decided early on, because my husband had been raised, and my first husband was raised in a very extremely abusive environment, like the kind that you could make a movie out of. And I mean, it was awful. But I said to myself, I'm not doing that to my kid. You know, when I have a child, I'm not doing that. And I made a conscientious effort. Now, he went on to marry another woman, and they spanked and did all that. And, you know, but I said, don't you touch my child. And, you know, I can't say his with his second wife or his stepson, may rest in peace. But you know what? I could save mine, and I didn't want her growing up in that. And you can ask my daughter, she grew up every day, being told how special she was. And I was one of those parents. You're so special, and you're the most beautiful and smartest girl in the world. All this, and it's like, yeah. But she has really good self-esteem, and I hoped that I would save her from a life of abuse, but yet she chose a couple that were bad. And she'll tell you herself. And she's coming in here probably at after 5. She'll be in here for a little bit. But I see that some other people in the chat got knocked down their chairs for being unladylike. That's no way to treat your children and teach them how to be a lady. I mean, if my mom had said, you know what, that's not ladylike, I would have been embarrassed, and I would have hung my head down and done it again. You didn't have to knock me out of my chair, you know. There was a lot of knocking heads and slapping and hitting in our house growing up, and I just didn't want to do that with ours.
But I wanted to bring up a topic that's really big over here at the moment in the UK. I don't know if it's been shown in the US, but it's about James Bulger.
Yes.
Right, yes. And how John Venables, which was one of his killers, has been sent back to prison. This is, I think, his second time since being released. He's gone back to prison for basically child paedophilia, having images of, See, Thomas, since Thomas left, Thomas has been good. He's stayed away from the law. He's not had any issues. Now, when I did my psychology tutor, my A-level psychology tutor, was one of the criminal psychologists on the original James Bulger case.
Really?
So she sat interviewing both John and Thomas because she had the experience in child psychology and the criminal aspect to that. And when she took us through this case, she ended up being my tutor for my degree. So she went more into this because she knew firsthand of what wasn't put in the press. And she said through the whole thing, Thomas was literally just influenced. He could be easily swayed. He didn't really have a background of abuse. He came from a working family. There was no issues. He was a good student. He was just easily led. So when he started hanging about with John, you know, people in the area and like teachers and that were like, we don't understand why he's hanging about with him. John, his mother, from what I remember, his mother was a druggie and an alcoholic. She skipped from relationship to relationship. She chose men over him. Her boyfriends, whoever they were, would basically abuse John, whether or not it was physically or verbally. John would be, you know, sleeping on park benches from the age of 7. You know, so he himself came from an abusive background.
So you can see that even though she was genetically predispositioned to, use drugs and, probably she was self-medicating, but then the abuse added to it. So she basically raised a monster. And that's what we want to learn from these cases, as we study them. You could make a monster. People don't understand that. All children are born. Now, some have genetic differences. Some are brighter. Some are slower. Some have talents in creation. But unless the amygdala is in the part of the brain and hypothalamus are damaged, every child has the potential to be a good service person, in the world, part of society. But they also have the potential to be a monster. That's how
my eldest son, Beth, he was visiting from Scotland, and he was visiting Belfast. On the way back home, he met a man whose mother was dying in Glasgow, and he was getting picked up from the boat place. Yeah. So he asked his friend if he could give the man a lift to the hospital, and they managed to get him there on time just before the man's mother died. And my son done that.
That's
and
good.
I was so proud.
Your son basically given this person just that extra few minutes just to say goodbye to his mother, whereas if he had to wait for transport, that wouldn't have happened.
And that shows kindness that your son.
And not a lot of people in the UK would do that. I don't know. I mean, as a country ourselves, we're not very approachable to strangers and public. Like I'm from London. I'm from West London. Right, and in London, you don't say hi to strangers. You'll get a dirty look. You'll get someone having a go at you. You literally just go about your way. Now, I now live in Berkshire, and it's a whole different world compared to London. You can say hi to strangers, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, good morning."
That's the way. Here,
I just. Sorry, Beth. I just couldn't believe that my son touched somebody's life and made a difference like that.
You're proud.
And that was amazing. That person's going to remember that for the rest of his life. That person will remember what your son did for them. That 5 minutes of kindness through the rest of his life. That person is going to go on and tell their children. Their children are going to go and tell their children. So he'll always be like a remembered part of their life, which I think is really good. That small little act of kindness will go on for generations. And so your son's going to be talked about basically for the next couple of decades.
And he was a product of abuse. He was brought up in an abusive environment,
and he's turned it around to the other side and become compassionate. And that is on you. That is because you took the teaching, and I'm really proud that.
See, I get this in my job quite a lot. My service users are all either disabled or in some sort of way, so they need my help. I mean, people in the UK know what a community carer does anyway.
Yeah,
but I go that extra.
Duchess is in the room. I'm sorry. Duchess said, I found in London people don't make eye contact. It was totally strange to me. It was to me too when I was in London, because I'm raised in the South. We take great pride in being hospitable to strangers. We're always kind whether we know you. And a lot of times, like the small town that I grew up in, I knew everybody that I was passing on the street. Hey, how you doing? Hey. And you'd be driving. You have to drive slow because you're waving at everybody. And if a stranger comes into town, they don't get it because we'll just wave at them too because we just figured they're a cousin we haven't met yet. But when I was in London, and now Belgium was great. Belgium was very friendly. Everybody there was just really kind. And Germany, parts of Germany, I didn't get eye contact, but London really didn't. It was like, and New York back at the time. This was in the late '80s. New York, nobody spoke to you. But then I went to New York because I was on a television show, and for a bit, it's a long story, but I was there during the Democratic National Convention, and they loved me. the doorman was like, "Well, hello, Miss Beth," and I was like, "Well, hi, honey," and I forgot his name, but yeah, they liked me because I was different, and I spoke to everybody, and I was always raised like that. But they liked me, and they liked my accent. So anyway, but yeah, London is very different with that. Everybody is very closed off, and they're very, they're very private. Even my good friend Mark, who lives in London, he's like, "You people talk to everybody here." I'm like, "Yeah, we like people. You never know when you're going to meet a stranger, and they'll be doing you a favor." But
I mean, if we go back to, I was born in 82. I was raised in London. Obviously, back then you didn't have the internet. You didn't have mobile phones. You were pretty much ignorant to what was going on in life. Now, my grandma was Southern Irish. So my mum was half Irish and half Scottish because my granddad was from Scotland. So during the 70s, when they were there, all the IRA bombings and everything, my mum was working at the BBC studios. And, like she said, the police would come in after a bombing or something suspicious. The police would come in to the BBC and they'd ask people, have you seen any suspicious Irish-looking people? And people would think, this is what they were pretty racist back then. And they'd go, they'd say,
how do you tell somebody from Narn to differ from the Republic of Ireland? I mean, seriously. What's the difference in Belfast and Cork? I mean, do they really? I mean, is there a different hair color? Because it's all looking like me. They all look like me.
So my mum basically said people in her work would go, point their finger to my mum and go, "Yeah, she's Irish Catholic," and my mum would go, "No, I'm English. My mum's Irish." So they would interview my mum, and my mum's there with a London accent going, "Do I sound Irish?" And they'd be like, "Well, you could be putting an Irish accent on." She goes, "Look, I've got my birth certificate, I've got my ID, I'm not Irish. My mum's Irish, I'm English, She's going, "I was born in Harlesden." And they were going, "Oh, but you've got Irish relatives." And she goes, "It doesn't matter." And they would just, every time it happened, she got targeted. There were her and about 6 other different women in her building that were basically had parents that were Irish, but they were born in England and raised in England.
That's not crazy.
I know. And then there was, when my mum lived, there was an IRA bomb scare. Now, the road my mum and my grandma lived down was predominantly Irish and Jamaican and West Indies. But there was only a couple. Huh?
Do you remember what road was it? Do you remember?
I don't know where the bomb scare was, but my mum was from Willesden, and I think the road was called Ilix Road or something. It was a couple of miles off. It was a scare. It didn't go off, but it was a bomb scare. So she said the police were banging on my grandma's front door, wanting to talk to her because my grandma was Southern Irish from County Kildare. And she said my grandma was this 5'3" little stormy Irish woman. And she turned around and apparently my mum said, this is what she said to the police: "Do I look like I can carry a bomb?" She goes, "Are you stupid enough?" And my mum said she's standing behind my grandma going, "Mum," she's going, no, they've come to my door. I'm going to tell them. So my mum's oldest brother had to drag my grandma away from the front door. And my mum spoke to them and everything. And then when the police went, they all watched from the front door. And the police only went to the houses that had Irish families in them. And there was about 5 or 6 Irish families. And she said it was such a horrible place in the 60s and the 70s in London if you had any Irish relatives. And so in the was it 89 or 90? I might have been 1990.
89 when it got real bad. By the way, hello, my baby. There's my baby girl.
I lived in a town called Hayes in Middlesex, which is verging on West London, and there was a big IRA bomb found at the Beck Theatre, and it was about 300 metres away from where we lived. The British military band were supposedly playing that night, and it was quite a big bomb that was found, but it was found in time. They moved us all out near Heathrow Airport into a hotel overnight while they disposed of it and everything, took us back. And again, Mum said when we got home, the police came to check on everyone, you know, that we were all right and everything. And then they turned around and said to my mum, "We hear you're Irish." And my mum just went, "For fuck's sake." She goes, "I've put up with this for decades." She goes, "I'm not, my mother's Irish. I'm English. I was raised in England." And they were going, "Oh, you know, we're just checking." And my mum was just like, she closed off from the police after that.
Joe, just hang on for a second. First of all, okay, Avid Scrapper said, "I am 75 and never heard of the Black Irish until 5 years ago." What is the difference in Irish and Black Irish? Explain.
I have no idea. I have never heard of that.
We hear Black Irish. Oh, I'm Black Irish.
Right.
Okay. Like, what? So
okay. With the Irish, they had a lot of West Indies come over.
Oh, there's
also actually race. So
there is a lot of Black Irish here.
It's just mixed race. A lot of them are mixed race. Some of them settled, you know, the West Indies, they when they were travelling through to England, they would stop off. Sorry, they would stop off in Ireland. Okay. Some would then go on to England, some of them would stay in Ireland. So then the West Indies, they would, you know, populate with the local Irish, you would get mixed race. But back then, having a child out of wedlock was illegal. So mixed race babies would be taken away from their mothers and put into adoption homes and foster homes. This is even going back to like the late 70s.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of mixed raced, I would say Irish, Black Irish, shall we say, babies that grew up in foster homes and then were adopted by white families. Or you had the Irish that, you know, if they found out they were pregnant, they were in a relationship with this person, they would then get married before that they announced that they were pregnant.
Oh, okay. All right, but hang on just a second. Madeline, I am sending you by Gmail. I'm going to send you the link. Madeline is my daughter, and I'd like to have her come in and speak. We've kind of gotten off topic a little bit. We've gotten to the IRA and everything else.
Talking about the IRA and stuff, I had a plumber in tonight, and we don't have gas central heating really here in Northern Ireland. A lot of it's like oil heating. And he said the reason was because of the IRA and stuff, and because of the bombings, they could not have gas central heating. Because can you imagine somebody with a bomb? Yeah. And houses with gas central heating? It was crazy.
My brother was, he lived near the Pentagon when 9/11 struck, and I remember I was on the phone with him, checking on him, and I could hear what sounded like bombs going off, and I'm like, David, what is going on? And I'm in tears. I'm at work, and I finally got him. He said, "No, it's not bombs. It's the gas mains blowing up." And because it hit the Pentagon in the way it hit, so the gas mains blew up. But whew, that was a mess. Let's get back to people telling their stories, and I honestly think that's a scarier subject than all these bombs. And I keep wanting to sing Zombie. And their bombs and their guns and their bombs and their guns. Zombie. I love that song. But
did you know she wrote that in protest to the IRA?
Oh,
she
she
died a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, she died a few weeks ago. And my daughter sings that song. My daughter never heard that song sang until I sang it because I sang with them. And
do you know
that was a lot of songs, and she learned it, and then she heard Dolores O'Riordan singing it, and she nails it. My kid can sing.
Oh,
Madeline, are you on yet? I sent you a link in your email. All you have to do is click on it, and you can come on panel. You'll need to have your Google Hangouts, but you can come on, and I'd like you to tell your story because Madeline, having her on here, the reason that I want to is because she saw me go through abuse.
yeah.
And she remembers it, and she still has nightmares from it. But yet, she didn't learn necessarily from my experience.
Yeah.
And she entered into, and she didn't tell me either.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't tell me. She knew that I would approve. She knew that I would probably go kill the guy. But, so that's why I want to have her on here. And thanks, y'all. I was just singing. I was just playing. Yeah, I can sing when I want to. I've sung in bands all my life. And
before she jumps on, I just wanted to say, like how, we say we don't realise how it affects our kids. Now, I hid. Well, okay, my son he wouldn't have known anything. He was too young. But my youngest is from a different partner. And when I had my youngest, I was still going through my PTSD stage. I had agoraphobia. I was having panic attacks. I was having really bad insomnia. I wouldn't sleep for days on end. I tried hiding all that from both my children. Now, my eldest, because of his autism, I think he was just ignorant to it. He didn't really notice it, which was a good thing. But my youngest, he picked up on a lot of anxiety from me. He would pick up from me crying. And even though I tried hiding it from him, I didn't hide it well enough. And it affected him to the point that he would be disruptive. And unfortunately, he's 6. Is he 6? He's 6. He's 7 this year. Yep. Get that right. 2 years ago, he was diagnosed with an unattachment disorder.
Right.
The doctors and everything went through the psychology. The doctor said that he didn't form an attachment to me. Well, when he was young, because
Oh, sorry, that's my phone.
He didn't form an attachment to me because of how I was trying to hide that, distance myself. And although I went through emergency C-section, I didn't have that skin to skin with him. I did find it hard to bond. And I found it so hard raising him compared to my first, and I just didn't see it coming. He was so disruptive, and he would say things to me like, I hate you, mummy. I wish you were dead. I'm going to kill you. This is coming out of a 4. Up from like the age of 4 to even now, these are still the things he says, because he can either be really high or really low with his moods. There's no in between with him.
Attachment disorder affects children for years and years. And it takes a lot of therapy and working with him and teaching him, because they don't learn emotions well. They don't learn affection, and they don't have that contact. So it's going to take a while.
Oh, but, I know. I mean, he bonded with my dad.
Okay, good. So
with his granddad, basically, he's got that bond, and he's the only one that can calm him down. So,
good.
This is why when I'm at work, my parents have him rather than a childminder, because I didn't want to add in an extra person between me, my parents, and school. So he's getting better. He's going to therapy. He's obviously too young for counselling, but he's also just about to go for an ADHD diagnosis. They don't say he is, but they just want to rule that out. They've ruled out autism. They said autism is a no. They just want to do ADHD to see if there's anything relating to that. He's got to go through these like psych tests and all that lot. And they said if they rule that out, then it's definitely an attachment disorder, which then they can move on from that, which, I work hard with him. I'm trying to spend as much time with him as I can. but it's sort of, I don't really talk about it because I still sort of blame myself for that, even though it's the ex-husband. And you know, my youngest never knew any of that. He wasn't obviously part of my life through that. So it's just working on that now. And, you know, even though you try and hide it from your children, they're not stupid. They know what's going on. And my advice would be, okay, yeah, don't show your children that side, but don't disassociate yourself from them. Try and get some form of help as, you know, like an intermediate in between, because your kids are going to feel it eventually. That's all I wanted to say.
When you've moved on to like other relationships and stuff, have you taken your insecurities and your fear into new relationships?
Yes. I
remember when I met my now husband, I used to push him to try and get him to hit me because that's what I was used to. If you know what I mean. So I used to try and push him to try and make him snap. And I mean, I don't know.
I wouldn't do physically. I mean, with my youngest, with Aiden's dad, I was dating him for 10 months before I found out I was pregnant. Yeah. And, you know, it went well at the start, and then it would be things like if he didn't answer the phone, or he didn't answer a text, or he was, you know, if he'd said he'd be round at 10 a.m. and he didn't turn up till like 11 a.m. and didn't tell me, I'd be freaking out, not only because I didn't know where he was, but I'd be wondering, is he going to walk through that door and have a go at me? And that's what it was like. And I think by the time that relationship ended, when I found out I was pregnant, I told him, and he literally fucked off. I didn't see him again.
Really?
And, you know, and I told him, I got him round and I told him I was pregnant, you know, and he was like, right, Beth, I've just got to pop out and get some cigarettes. I was like, no, that's fine. You know, you take your time. He drove off.
Wait a minute. He pulled the, I've got to go to the corner and get the cigarette bullshit.
I lived out in the country at the time, so you had to drive.
Yeah. I mean, is that how you stay?
Josephine.
I mean, seriously.
I went for a pint of milk.
I'd have been like, just keep driving. You gotta go that far to get cigarettes right now. Just keep driving. Keep the car.
It's like he's been gone for cigarettes for 7 years now, you know. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a big joke. Where'd your dad go? I don't know. He went out for cigarettes. We haven't seen him.
Don't smoke, Hayden. But yeah, he went off. But it was just like, I mean, that was a major breakdown for me.
Hello.
Is that my girl? Wait a minute. Is that my baby girl? Madeline?
Hi.
Hi,
yes.
there's my dog. Yes, I certainly can. Did you finally get it to upload? Okay. Y'all, this is my daughter.
Hi.
I
made an emergency appointment at the nail salon. Fingernail, so I have to go get my nails done.
Okay. How much time do you have, babe?
Well, I told her I'd be there in 20 minutes, and it's been 20 minutes, but I've got a couple of minutes to talk.
I love you.
Blame traffic.
Yeah, just blame traffic. She actually has a really good nail girl, and I'm going. When next time I come up, I'm going there.
She's
Madeline,
amazing.
Okay, you and I both would get the nails. Believe me, Madeline. There are pictures of my daughter at like 4 getting a pedicure and getting her nails done, holding Cosmo upside down, and she's on the wall.
Look, I pulled up my emergency brake and I ripped one off, and I'm like,
oh God,
it hurts so bad. I wanted to write a country song about it.
Okay. Oh, my love. Okay, I want you to talk, first of all, as a child who has witnessed your mother going through abuse. And, you know, I still have guilt about that. I don't think there's enough therapy in the world to get me past that. I want you to talk about what your residual effects. Now, Madeline is 26. She'll be 27 soon. I know I don't look like I'm holding that up. I'm holding up well, and she's made me very proud. And
she's a good girl.
Madeline, huh? She is a good girl. She really is. But she still has residual effects. She still got PTSD from, a relationship I had when she was 4.
Yeah.
So, Madeline, you want to talk about that a little bit? I know it's going to be a little hard. It's okay if you cry.
Who am I talking about?
Greg.
Oh yeah, can I speak freely about him?
You can speak freely. Just try to keep the language to where I can play this again in an under 18 audience.
That may be difficult.
You can say the F words, but don't get much more.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really remember much of him.
What are you dreaming?
Because I'm not dreaming about him. I think you might be confused.
You said you were having nightmares.
No.
Okay, well then I'm wrong.
I'm not having nightmares about him or anything, but I can say that like there's stuff sometimes when I'll think about it from time to time. I used to be really scared about him, but I mean it's been 22 years or something.
Yeah.
So I mean, as far like I remember vividly like that part of my childhood where he was involved, and I remember like the drugs and just the stuff that he was involved in, and he was scary. I mean, and I remember like distinctly one night, whenever he was like, we were living in a trailer and he like the power wasn't even on, and like he had his daughter on his hip and he was like beating you and then like threw me into the wall, and like that was shitty. Sorry.
Yeah, it was. You can say
but
shitty.
I mean that was shitty, and like I just remember you having a lot of bruises and stuff, and I think that you played, like the domestic role that you tried to, to be his girlfriend, because I mean I think you loved him, but honestly like it never made any sense to me why you were still with him, because I thought it was really stupid. But then later on in life when I started dating Jesse, I understood. Because it's like you can be on the outside and be like, oh, you're such an idiot. You should have left him. You should have, you shouldn't have been in that relationship to begin with. Like it's really, 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 really easy to say that from the outside,
Madeline, was he your birth father then?
No, Greg.
No, my.
Okay.
No, yeah, my dad. He's a different kind of crazy, but we won't get into that.
But was it hard?
Yeah,
Can I just ask a quick question? Seeing as he was unrelated to you, did you find it? I don't know what's the word, because you would have been 5 at the time.
4
yeah, I was like 4 or 5.
Yeah, so could you remember, it being obvious to you when, obviously not the physical part, but like the emotional abuse? Was it obvious to you as a child that wasn't related? If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Well, I think that like two sides of things, obviously when you're in an abusive relationship, it happens. There's actually 3, there's mental, physical, and emotional abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that since I was so young, that I didn't really see my mom cry a lot. I'm sure she did, but I only really witnessed like the physical part. And it wasn't really because, I mean, in the first 5 years of your life, that's when your mind is molding, right?
Yeah.
So,
90%
I thought that was normal. I thought that was supposed to happen. I didn't see what he was doing as wrong. I just knew he was a bad guy. But I didn't think like in terms of how an adult would assess the situation. I was just like, okay, well, whatever. My mom is the center of my universe. Whatever she decides is the best decision. I don't understand why. I think she, is making the wrong decision. And I would tell her that, I remember. But I mean, from that perspective, I don't really remember that. I mean, then I ended up being in a really bad relationship later on in life. And it was an emotional and physical and mental abusive type situation. And then like all of my friends would be like, oh, you need to leave him. You need to leave him. You need to leave him. He's bad. But it was just one of those things where it's like you're blind. You're just blind by it all, you know.
Why do you think that after experiencing as a child that you did not recognize the red flags with Jesse? Why did you say, "Oh,
Well, I
he's
think I
acting
answered
like
that already.
this guy my mom today"? Why didn't you?
Well, I'm saying
why didn't it click?
Well, because I answered that before. You know, in the first 5 years of your life, that's what your norm is. That's what you can tolerate. That's what you can put up with. That's what you can deal with. So, I mean, for me, it was just kind of like that was something that I could handle.
So do you think that was directly related to what your mum went through?
Say that again?
Do you think that's directly related to what your mum went through?
I don't think so. I think because, I mean, really, it's just the luck of the draw whenever you start dating an asshole.
Yeah.
They're great in the beginning. And then, you know, they start finding your vulnerable traits. And then they start attacking you, like, after they realize that they have a hold on you. So, I mean, I think that my mother, I don't see a comparison, really, in my relationship and hers, except for the fact that, like, it did give me more visage on how to, why she did what she did, if that makes sense. So it gave me, okay, this is why my mom was with Greg. This is why she was in a really shitty relationship, is because she was blind, just like I was with Jesse. Like, you ignore those things, and you know, it's human nature, and
you don't see it happening though.
There's so much we can handle.
You don't see it. Well, when you're in the thick of it, you're right in the centre of it. You don't see all these little things they're doing to change and manipulate you. When people on the outside see it, you're oblivious to it because, you know, you're caught up in that moment. And then when you do realise it's happening,
it's too late.
It's too late. You know, you're already stuck there, and you know, like coming from something.
And I want to say that, you know, I recognize that she was in an abusive relationship, probably like my friends and, you know, relatives that I was. I know my grandparents know I was. But nobody can get you out of that relationship until you decide for yourself that you've had enough. And, you know, I begged her. She'll tell you, I begged her, leave him alone. Leave him. Do not take him places with you. He used her for money and for her vehicle and gas. And, I mean, her college debt wouldn't be as much if she hadn't been around him. She would get her college tuition, and you know, he's supposed to be able to use that money to eat and live on, and you know, as well as go to school. And he'd think it was vacation time, and I'm like, this guy's ruining you. But she had to learn for herself, and you know, that's why I say we want to take all the crap that we've gone through and put it in our kids' heads, but we can't.
But can I ask, because with me, after Aiden's dad, my youngest dad, after that's when I realised before I could get into any future relationship, I had to work on myself. I had to work on knowing that I wasn't going to be insecure with someone, and that I had to basically fix myself before I could introduce someone else into my life. So that's when I did the counselling. That's when I got the career that I wanted to go on. You know, I did all this, and now I'm standing here thinking, well, actually, I quite like being single. You know, between work and
she just said that.
I'm serious. I've literally said the same thing. I'm like, you know what? Because I just got out of a 2-year relationship. Short story. I moved up here to 6 hours away from where my friends and family were, and started a new life. And we broke up pretty much when I moved here. And so I was just like, all right, well, here I am. I'm gonna work on myself. I'm gonna enjoy myself. I date so many people. It's great. I don't sleep with all of them. Like, I am intimate with like one person, you know, because that's kind of like a moral issue with me. But I mean, I date so many people. I'm going on a date tonight. I'm going on a date tomorrow. Like, I like doing things, and if
as long as you get them to pay.
Don't
you pay? Do you get them to pay?
Oh yeah, they pay.
They pay for dinner. She gets paid.
I could pay for my dinner if I wanted to pay for my dinner, but I'm not going to do that because they should do that.
Right.
I'm a queen. I am a queen. They should be excited to be graced by my presence.
Hell
Yes.
Yeah,
Hell
can
yeah.
you tell that? Can you tell I built her up growing up? You're the cutest and the smartest, and you're special.
I'm special. So
She's
special,
so
but
sweet.
these ladies are not. These ladies are gonna kill me if I don't go in there because they.
You go get your nails done because they best. They the best.
They
Yeah,
the
go
best.
get your nails done and have fun tonight. Safe
All
sex,
right,
remember?
it was lovely.
Oh, she's
I'm
not
sure
having
enjoy
sex
it.
with her, but she'll
No.
FaceTime me
Enjoy
later
it.
and tell me how it goes. That's one good thing. I love that my daughter and I are so close. We talk on the phone how many times a day,
All
Madeline?
right.
And,
So many.
and
Love you guys. Bye.
I love you, baby.
Bye.
Get your nails done.
Bye.
But I mean, I think that's a good thing to realise is that, you know, women or even men, when you're insecure and you're not happy with yourself, you know, like if you're not happy being alone and single, you're never going to be happy in a relationship.
I agree.
Because you're not happy with yourself.
If you don't love yourself, no one else can love you fully. And I
Mhm.
believe that. And, you know, and that's what I talk to my patients about. Because they'll go from one relationship to the next and the next and the next. And I'm like, why are you doing this? You're not loving yourself and treating yourself well. And they're like, well, I don't have enough money. And I'm like, well, you can get a second job, you know,
Yeah.
and if you've got kids, you know, you don't have to spend a ton of money to enjoy being alone and by yourself. Listen, give me a bottle of nail polish and some acetone, and I'll sit and do my nails, and I'll take a bath, and I will put candles on, and I will be like, oh, I just love myself. And I do that quite often. But you know, that's the thing. We as women think that doing something so simple as painting our nails and, you know, taking a spa bath, put one of those bath bombs in, you know, we feel guilty. You know, a lot of us, and we say, well, I shouldn't be doing this. I should be doing that for my kids, or I should be doing that for, you know, my husband or my man. We've got to start valuing ourselves more. And I know that there are so many women who are like, they see it as being selfish. It's okay to be selfish.
Oh, yeah.
And I want women to say, it's okay to think about myself first sometimes. I can be selfish. It doesn't mean that I love anybody else less. It means that I love me enough to take care of me.
I tell you what, I don't feel guilty when I'm taking a bath, you know. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to light my candles. The kids are at my parents' tonight. So, you know, I was like, I'm going to relax. I'm going to have a bath bomb. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to enjoy the peace and quiet. But that's the thing with me, between the kids and with the stupid amount of hours I work, I don't want to be with anyone. I have my clients say to me, you know, Beth, why are you single? Find yourself a man. I'm like, I don't want to. I'm happy. And they're all, you know, like older in their 70s and their 80s, and they don't get that. They don't get that I'm not out dating. And I'm like, if I want to go out dating, I'll join a dating app, or, you know, I'll go do this. And, you know, I go meet, you know, men that my friends set me up with, or occasionally if I feel like going on Plenty of Fish and he's not a dick, I'll meet up for coffee or go for like a glass of wine or something, like, you know. But, you know, I just like dipping my toes out there. And if I meet the guy and I think, nah, it's not for me, I just think, well, I've had a nice evening. I've met someone, you know, I've been a bit social, but, you know, thanks for that. I'm going off home now to go and catch up with Supernatural. You know, like, I don't find, okay, people might find it sad that I'm quite happy to wrap myself up in my duvet and catch up with TV series, but, you know, that's my chill out time, so it don't bother me.
And we need that. We need that. We need that downtown. By the way, Jane, you are doing a fantastic job in the chat. Don't think while we're chatting. I am watching, and you are just doing a fabulous job talking, because I don't know if you can't see the chat, but in the side chat, Belladonna Cristobal is talking about, you know, a bad divorce that she's going through. Maybe Bella, honey, would you like to come on the panel? Because we've been kind of skipping around everything, and but this, you know, the main reason that we're here is to talk about things like this. And Do you need a link, Belladonna? If you want a link, I will be very happy to send you one. She said she named the minute she threw her bouquet that it was wrong.
Oh.
You know what? Let me put the chat, and I'll put the link in the chat, and well, let me go get it. And if anyone wants to come in there, because we've kind of been bouncing all around. Wait a minute.
I'll tell you what, Beth.
What,
Do you want
baby?
to do? I know a lot of people have seen my recent video.
Yes, your video was great.
I mean, if anyone's got any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay. Well, we will definitely put that. If you've watched, she's Unmumsy Musings, and if you want to if you have any questions, then please, did I do this right? Then please ask her. Yeah, is that the right? Okay, Belladonna, do you want to come on in then, honey? There's the link right above your comment where you said yes. I don't know if I've got you on Twitter or not. But if that doesn't work, DM me on Twitter, and I will send it to you, because it seems like it's getting pretty serious, and I think you need to talk. And obviously, if y'all want to talk to Josephine about her video, it was an excellent video. You really need to see it. Belladonna, where are you? And I'm seeing other people.
I cried making that video. I didn't even realise I was crying, I was just like, fuck.
Yeah, I know. I get upset easily, and I have to stop. I might be able to out. I have to stop. There's some videos that I've gotten really upset in, and people are like, "Oh my God, you're pitiful." I'm an ugly crier. I'm a really ugly crier. It's just the makeup goes down the face, and the eyes turn red as the hair, and my eyebrows disappear, and it's just not good. It's not a good look. Can you make Josephine a mod? Joe, you are a mod, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I just can't open the chat up as well as.
Okay, you need to. All right, well, let me tell you what to do. Go to Chrome. You got Chrome or Mozilla? Who's your Internet Explorer? Just open up YouTube and go to my channel. Yeah, you're a mod.
Yeah.
So just open that up, and you can close the Google. And if you want to come back in, you got the one. If you want to come back on panel. But yeah, we need you, because Jane's got to get her dinner ready. But the video, and by the way, I'm sorry I was hateful to you the other day. I was in a bad mood and I was grumpy. I'm sorry. Okay, and Michelle's still here. Great. Okay. So that link went to Twitter. Well, shit. Belladonna, DM me, and I will send you the Hangouts. I don't know what. Do I have you on? Are you Belladonna Cristobal on? Are you on Twitter by that? I don't know what I'm doing. Let me see if I can get it to do. I don't know what I'm doing. It's terrible. Belladonna.
I can't see the chat. Who's all there?
Okay, everybody. We've got 21
Everybody.
people watching. Everybody. Let's see.
Everybody.
Y'all know I got a country accent. What? Let's see. I don't know. I can't see how many. It says 21 are watching now, but I think I've got more than that in here. But I'm Coble_Hudson on Twitter. Well, shit. Let me get to you. _Hudson. Straight no chaser? Is that right? Belladonna? That's right. Turn that frown upside down. Okay. Total_Hudson. You have your DMs closed. I'm gonna follow you, but you gotta open your DMs for me, honey. Yeah, Belladonna. You know what? Why can't I just put the link in the chat like I want to? It won't let me do what I want to do.
That usually works.
Yeah, let me see. Copy. I hate having to switch from browser to browser because it's just annoying. Okay. All right, Belladonna, I'm putting it in the chat. There you go. That's a link. There you go. Hit that, honey. Jane's going to get her some food. She's got to fix dinner. I got a pot roast over here, and I haven't fixed anything to go with it. We may be eating beef sandwiches. But Belladonna, honey, I know I'm terrible. And you know what we're supposed to be doing tonight? I'm supposed to be going. I gotta go Belk because I'm out of mascara and my dual finish. I gotta go Lincoln Counter, and then we're supposed to go look for all my appliances because I'm getting all new appliances in the kitchen, and then I'm getting marble countertop, and then I have to pick the stain for the thing. I've got so much to do. My husband's not even home yet. And I'm also getting a new dryer because my washer works perfectly, but my dryer just kind of. And but yeah, I got to do all that. We're getting a refrigerator, a new dishwasher. I'm getting double ovens instead of the microwave oven thing. I'm just getting double ovens because I like that better. And then the range. And then we're going to get we're doing everything stainless steel and black. We're going to get a stainless steel microwave, a small one, because we don't hardly use a microwave. I cook. And then we're going to get the dryer and then the deep freeze downstairs. So we're spending some money. We've been saving. And I'm just like, woo! And then we're doing the floors.
So you'll be bitching in a brand new kitchen?
That's right. Bitching in my new kitchen.
You need to change your name.
I'm so excited about this. I've been wanting to do this it's been almost 6 years we've been in this house. We've been doing a lot of landscaping and outside work, but I haven't gotten to do all I want to inside. Yeah. And Belladonna, Cristobal, will you please hit that link and come and see us? Please come get on the thing. But I cannot, honest to goodness, I can't wait to get my kitchen the way I want it, especially since that stupid idiot that he thinks he's in kitchen wars with me, and I'm like, it's not your kitchen, it can't be your war. And then he went down and opened and I said, there's nothing in that kitchen to eat but generic cereal and Tupperware containers because that's all there was, and a Keurig, which I wouldn't have a Keurig. I like to grind my beans. I'm a little bit of a coffee snob, but he's showing me his mother's kitchen. I'm like, that's not yours. Why are you acting like it's something important? And then he gave me a whole house tour saying, oh, our house is so great. It's kind of a hovel. I mean, it's a shitty little house. And I'm like, shut up, dude. Leave me alone. Quit putting my name in your tweets. Quit tagging me. Quit making videos about me. I don't give two shits about you. Leave me alone. But he's always saying that my kitchen's awful.
Are we talking about Gigi?
Yeah. Yeah. He's just an idiot. Oh my God! I met my dog going off. I'm just like, for real, dude. Get a life.
Such a strange wee man.
Yeah. Well, he's pissed a whole new bunch of people off by imitating someone's dead child, and I'm just like,
seriously?
What is that? Yeah, he made a Twitter account with the dead child's name and is tweeting the family.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's awful. And I'm just like, you sick piece of shit. You know? And then he wants to say, harassing him on the internet.
Did he not stop? He was stalking Martin. Was he not stalking Martin because of Martin supposedly said something about the dead child? Supposedly?
No. Martin has been trying to stay away from him, and he's left Martin alone because he's mainly been focusing on those people that he's harassing with the dead child. So Martin, and he wasn't messing with me for a little bit until I told the woman, I said, by the way, that account's Jamie too, and that one and that one. She said, oh yeah, we found all 10 of these accounts. And then he got mad. But I tell you what, I would be afraid to say stuff like that on the internet, that God would come and get me. That God would strike me down. That's all right.
See, I don't get why someone puts that much energy into making alt accounts, into making multiple accounts, into basically harassing people 24/7. I couldn't do that. Yeah,
he's on the dole. He's on disability. Makes $1,250 a month. And he slipped and tried to say that was a lot of money. And I'm like, okay, so you're living in your parents' basement. You make $1,250 a month, and all you do is buy subs and views and play on the internet harassing people. You got a life we all envy. Yeah, and he thinks we're all envious.
Having fibromyalgia.
Yeah, he said he had fibro, but then he admitted to Prince Royalty, who ratted him out, that the only reason he says he has that is so he can go into the chat rooms and get support, and they're so sympathetic. And I'm like, you are a sick person. Who does that?
I can tell you now, he has definitely not got fibro, because one, he can't even spell it properly. He can't even go onto Google and spell it properly. It's not FY, it's FI. Like, get that into your head at first. Secondly, someone with fibro, and I'm on the mild scale with fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
I couldn't sit there from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep on multiple different accounts, throwing so much hate, putting all that energy in. If I did that for one day, I'd be in my bed for 2 days sleeping.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Your mind would be frazzled. Your mind would be like frazzled. I don't understand.
Hey, it's just, you almost have to sit back. Like, he made the 2 videos and he stole pictures off of my Facebook that I had mistakenly left, I guess public, I don't know. I took my whole Facebook down this morning. I was like, screw you. I'm taking down Instagram and Facebook, and you're not using any more of my pictures, you little shit. And I'm like, I've got all my pictures on my computer and on my phone if I need them. But he had to search for pictures. And I'm like,
that's creepy.
It's crazy.
And that's the thing is, like, if I go on to like YouTube comments and I post a comment, not being negative at all, he'll reply, like, to my one comment, he'll reply 15, 20 times. He'll put my full name out there. He'll spread lies. He's like going, oh yeah, Guru Gossip have had enough of you. They're calling you Warthog. No, they're not calling me Warthog. It's not me they're calling you Warthog. I can tell you who it is if you actually read the threads, but it's not me. And it's just the amount of hate he's spreading, and I just don't get why people are falling for his lies and twists and his...
I have changed my tactics. I was ignoring him, and he was still tagging me, and like, I think it's about 1,300 tweets since he got he just tags me in random shit. All his stuff has my name on it. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to start answering back. Somebody said that one of his fake accounts had where I was talking about the RA and the fibro getting real bad. I was in a flare, and this is a long time ago. I don't know why he pulled it up, but he said, you're such an attention whore. I said, oh no, this is a real whore. And I put Jamie's Facebook thing where he was like, send me $50 for a nudie photo. I was like, you little freak, I'll show you what a whore is. Then I started retweeting all of the horrible, nasty stuff that he has tweeted out to other people, so everybody can see, because they don't see it. They don't see what all it is, but I'm gonna make sure they do. Because
and that email that I received.
Yeah,
you know that email. Oh, sorry. Hang on. One second. Right, you know that email I received from whoever it was threatening my kids?
Oh yeah.
I never once said it was him though. I said there's a possibility it could be, or it could be a crazy follower of his, but he put my private email out there. He also put a threat at the same time, and it just so happens a couple of hours later I get a Gmail email, you know, from Jamie Austin Stan threatening my kid's life. So I was like, right, okay, I've had enough of this. Then when he made a video, he goes, it was like, oh, the email I sent, oh, sorry, no, the email I allegedly sent. And I'm like, did you send it or not then? Like, you know, make up your mind.
Did you see, he copied, he took off your last name and then and posted it and sent it to me. But and Michelle, he's got about 10. He's got about 10 different accounts.
Well, he made a video about me as well. Did you see that one? He made a video about me. Yeah.
He's nuts. He has nothing to do but lay in the basement and try to mess with people on YouTube. And I'm telling you what, he's messed with the wrong family because they're in his town now. They have found him. They know where he is. And making fun of a dead child, they're going to beat the shit out of him, and I don't care if they do. I hope they do. I hope he gets a whack for every evil thing he's ever said, because let me tell you, you come on, people get real brave behind, you know, computers. But I was raised where if you're going to say it, you better mean it, and you better have the ass to back it up.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope they tear him up one side and down the other and take pictures and share it so we can, I'll blow one up and frame it. As God is my witness, I will put it in my office and frame it and say, this is what happens when you're an asshole on the internet. And it'll be a warning to everybody, because I have patients who are like, yeah, I troll people. I'm like, yeah, you're going to get your butt kicked one of these days. Because let me tell you, trolling goes off the internet. There's
a difference between trolling a wee bit and being a pure arsehole. Do you know, you can be a wee bit of a troll and it's funny and you can have a laugh, but when it gets to that extent where you're putting public information out and
he tried to put out addresses of friends and family members of mine this morning that he got off of Facebook, and I'm like, what the hell?
That's bigger than trolling. That's beyond trolling.
Yeah, well, I just hope those people find him.
I mean, I don't wish any harm on anyone. That's not what I'm about. But
I wish all the harm on him that he deserves. I hope that every time he goes to the bathroom, his butthole hurts. I hope that it burns when he feeds. I hope that he can't sleep at night. I hope that he has nightmares when he does. I hope the devil stands at his door and tells him he's coming to get him. And I want everything that bad could happen to him to happen. I want him to fall every time he goes down the damn steps. I want him to twist his ankles.
Do you wish piles? Do you wish piles on him?
I tell you what, I hope every time he eats, it doesn't sit right on his stomach and he throws up. I hope he gets the shit. You name it, I hope he gets it. He's pissed me off.
Anyway,
I'm a little upset.
Well,
I don't want good things. I don't want good things for him.
The amount of crap he's putting out there, it's going to come back at him.
And I want it to come back. I want it to come back in all those ways.
Yeah. But didn't he say he's got IBS as well?
Oh God, I hope so. I hope he shits himself silly.
Oh, I tell you what, if he's got IBS anything like mine, he would have been stuck on that toilet for 2 hours.
I'd like him to be on the shitter 90% of the day.
Running.
Or constipated.
God.
Do you know, I take mebufoterin, I can't say it, like, because it stops the stomach cramping, and I hate taking it because, like, I can't take it when I'm at work because I know within about 20 minutes I'm hugging that toilet for an hour. So it was like I got home from work thinking I feel really shitty, I feel really horrible, like I've been feeling really icky all day, and I thought, right, suck it up, Beth, suck it up, take the tablet. You've been avoiding
Didn't we tell you no more poo talk? Didn't we agree to this? Yeah. No more poo talk in the beginning of this. Oh my God.
But worked, and I'm messaging Mama Beth on like Twitter and DM, like, I don't know if I can make it, like I might not be alive.
I can't get off the commode. I said, get your ass off the shitter and come on.
I didn't realize that was serious. I thought it was a
I have laughed so much. She will message me and she'll say, I can't get off the toilet. I can't get off the toilet. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go to bed. I'm not going to be able to go to work. All I'm doing is shitting myself. And I'm just like, and I'm reading it in her accent, and then I just crack up. I'm like, I really don't need to know about your poo, but okay. I'm supportive. I'm a good friend. I will support you through your poo.
But it was someone said to me ages ago.
Oh my God.
I remember ages ago, someone said to me, would you talk about your IBS and, you know, like how it is? And I was just like,
stop! You always talk about I talk about my IBS to people across the fucking pond. People in America know about my IBS. You should be the spokesperson because you're not embarrassed, and I love that about you. I love that you do not get embarrassed, and you're just like, oh, I'm going to tell you about my poo.
I've got no shame. I have no shame. Believe me. I tell you what, right? Months ago, it was last summer, and I had like 3 days where I was really bad, but I had to go to work, and I'm just like, I wasn't driving at the time, and I was working with my supervisor, and she was driving, and I was like going, Helen, look, I said, I'm on an emergency day, so I said, when I need the toilet, there's no faffing about, we've got to find the toilet. So we left the client's house, and I went to Helen, I need the toilet now. She goes, can you hold on? I was like, no. And I'm like squirming in the car seat, like I really need the toilet. We found a public toilet in this park. She didn't even stop that car by the time I got out. I led it to the bathroom, and I'm there. I'm not kidding. I'm on the toilet for 15 minutes. She's come knocking on the door, and she goes, Beth, I can hear you outside going, oh, fuck, oh, shit. And she's going, there's kids outside and their mums are covering their ears. And I'm like, sorry.
Oh, my God, that is awful. Oh, reality check, yeah, we've covered him. He does make cookies and enjoys burgers, look like poster children for sanity. You know what? I think we should get an intervention together and just go to Canada and say, hello, we are the internet that you have offended. Yeah. We'd like to haul you off. Yeah. Oh, well, my husband is here. This has been a blast. We started out, we were serious, and then we kind of got sidetracked, but we laughed a little bit.
I've not told my story yet.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Can I go pee? Because you all have had me laughing so hard that I've got to pee. So, No, I just need 2 minutes. My bathroom, the master bath down on this floor is 2 minutes. Let me go pee. Everybody go get a drink. Everybody get a drink, go pee, and come back. Okay?
This is what Canada ladies for, you know?
Oh, God, you got me. I got to pee. We'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh, Lord, I can't walk. Oh.
I am terrible. I have no shame, like when I'm doing morning calls and I'm washing a client, getting them ready, or this is where I'm really bad. When I'm changing their pad and cleaning them, I'm talking to the other carer going, oh yeah, where should we go for lunch? Really fancy a burger. And the clients are going, how can you talk about food while doing this? And like, oh, fucking nature, I've got no shame.
See, when you've had children, once you've had children, all your shame goes out the window. Do you know? It's just it gets out the window. My daughter gets embarrassed so easily. Like, I told her I was coming on live stream the night. She's like, Mum, why would you do that, Mum? I've got people that know you. on YouTube. Why would you do that? You're so embarrassed. It's a shame. That is a shame.
But then if you think about it, by the time you've given birth, you've had about 4 different midwives between your legs, 3 different doctors. God knows how many cameras looking up there.
By my third child, I had given birth, and then she was like, "Do you want skin contact?" And I'm like, "I want a shower." A shower? She's like, "Do you know what
I'm getting to tell y'all, go on.
There's a I come for a fucking shower." And I just left. I left the room. They were all looking at me like, where are you going? I was like, I need
This stream is sponsored by Tenor Lady. Get the pads on, girls.
This stream is sponsored by Durex.
There you go. If you ever want anything off-putting from Sex for Life, just listen to us talk. It's sorted.
You can hear her.
No, she's not.
As if she's in the toilet.
She wandered across the street. I can't even get my words out.
What age are your kids?
Huh?
What age are your kids?
Aiden is 6. He is 7 in June, and Joe is 10, and he is 11 in October. Oh,
So
she's
you're
back.
Oh, I am back. Let me get my headphones.
Yeah,
Okay,
my
and I've got me a cup of tea.
eldest is 10, so yeah, he's the autistic one. They say, do you know what I find hilarious is people go, "Oh yeah, autistic kids are stupid." No, they're not. They are far from it. They are. I tell you what, my son can worm his way into the Bank of England and walk out with £1 million without anyone noticing.
Yeah.
I might try that actually.
Have you heard that? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm talking over. Wait a minute, I gotta see the thing. Do you know that they're doing a new magnetic therapy with autistic children? Have you heard about it? Oh my God! And it's doing like they started doing it in Israel, and they're doing it on some test patients. They're testing it out, doing clinical trials. They use magnets on the back of the head, and the magnets seem to stimulate growth, where autistic children don't seem to have the communication and the connection to emotion and language. But it's just fantastic. These kids are going from being severely autistic, like nonverbal, and they're doing this treatment for like 6 months to a year, and they're coming out and they're just like any other kid. No, you're not going up there, Spanky, get down. Sorry.
Do you know what my son says to me? He's got these phrases, right? Instead of coming up to you going, "Can I have that?" He'll come up to you, and if you're eating something, goes, "What is that?" Which is, "Give me some." He'll come up to you, like if you're cooking or something, he'll go, "What are you doing?" Which means, "Give me some." I was just like, Jesus, Jay, like, and then he'll say he's got this thing at the moment because he was moved up further a year, even though he's got severe learning and speech difficulties. He's actually quite advanced in his like education or whatever. So he's gone up a year. He's if he clicks onto a subject that he really likes, he will know it all. Like last year was medical and operations, so he was on YouTube watching like doctors do operations and stuff. Like, and he was coming out with all these like sayings and stuff. Didn't have a clue what he was doing. And one day, right, he walks into the kitchen. I'm cooking. I've put this knife next to me, like right next to my side. Not even half a second later, he picks it up, and he basically says, I don't know the terms, but he basically said that he was going to try and take my appendix out. And I was like, no, you're going to put that down. No, Mummy needs her appendix, Joseph. So I was just like, right, okay, we're going to put a lock on the cutlery drawer now because I don't trust her. Like,
yeah, you don't want to wake up to a tonsillectomy.
No, I don't. No. I just worry that when he finds out you can sell kidneys online, that's when I'm going to start panicking.
Oh, You know,
Okay.
it's always a lot of money. And there's a lot of people, and you got to.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, we didn't get to your story. Now, when I left, you said, "Oh, we haven't got my story." I want to hear it from the beginning.
Okay. Are you understanding my accent? Okay.
Yeah, it's adorable. I love it.
Really scared. I was like, people are going to be saying, like, I don't understand what she's saying, and all this kind of thing. I was
Well, if
nervous.
anybody doesn't understand, if anybody doesn't understand, they can always ask in the chat.
Yeah, I can't see the chat, so.
Wait a minute. Wait. Belladonna Cristobal is having trouble. She's not tech savvy. Can proof is in the pudding. Can you show her how to get the Google Hangouts? She needs to download Google Hangouts. So you have to go to Google and then you just put in the search Google Hangouts, and it'll show you how to download it either to your phone or to your laptop, whichever you want. And and then once you've downloaded that, you just go on YouTube and you can click the link that I gave you, and it should bring you on. Okay, hon? And if you need more help, if you just can't get it tonight, then you just need to give me a DM, and we'll work it out. My husband just, hello, are you finished yet? No, I'm not.
Right, before we go,
Okay.
ladies, I'm going to have to scoot off because I've got to be up for 5 o'clock.
Okay, well, I want to hear her story, and we're going to go through that, and then we'll close it out. Okay?
Are you keeping this stream, like the video, up?
Yes.
Right, I'll scoot to the end of it and then watch it and drop you a DM later.
Okay, that would be great. Yeah, I think it's important to keep these streams up because people are watching them afterwards and they're responding. They're like, "Oh my God, you all talked about things that I understood." And Belladonna, we will get you on. If I have to, I'll start doing these 2 a week. If people really want to, you DM me. Okay, honey.
So thank you for the chat, girls. This has been quite insightful.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. All right,
so,
all right, Joe. I will talk to you later on, and I want to hear her story.
Okay, night, ladies. Bye.
Night. Okay, my Miss Scottish Flash.
Is there nobody else that wants to come on? No.
We're going to do you, Belladonna Cristobal. I'm going to have to help to get her set up so she can come on. But
okay.
And so we're gonna have you, and you're gonna cap off our evening, and then I think it'll be great.
Okay. Well, when I was 16 when I met my ex-husband, and he was a friend of my big brother's, so I had known him most of my life, and I think I was infatuated because he was 4 years older than me. And I thought he was wonderful. My mum thought he was wonderful. My family loved him, kind of thing. I was engaged when I was 16, pregnant by 17, and I was married by.
You were young.
I was young. Yeah, I was young. My son's 20 and I'm 38 now, so there's not that much of a gap between us.
Yeah. That means you just look like you're very, very young, and he can call you his aunt.
Well, we went out when he was over visiting. We went out and he was talking to somebody at the club. And somebody says to him, "Who's this that you're with?" And he was like, "That's my mother." And they were like, "No, that's not your mother. That's too hot to be your mother."
Doesn't that make you feel good? I had Madeline at 20, and I always felt like the young mom, and it made me feel good.
But there was signs almost straight away. Like I had a fish tank in my room, and it had like tropical fish in the fish tank. And he got drunk one day and put his foot right through it and smashed the fish tank, and the fish went everywhere, died, things like that. But it escalated. I mean, when I was pregnant, he dragged me up the stairs by my hair, and I was heavily pregnant, things like that. When my oldest son was only a few months old, he hit me with a big, massive wine bottle. He beat me with it. and I had to go to the hospital, and I had I think it was 11 separate injuries I had from that. But this went on 10 years. I was with him for 10 years. And then as I was turning 30, I was starting to think to myself, I don't want to be sitting like this when I'm 40.
Yeah.
Another 10
exactly.
years. I just couldn't have faced another 10 years so unhappy. I was the one that was working. Every spare penny went towards alcohol for him because he was an alcoholic. It was just an absolute nightmare. But I always stayed, and that's why I would recommend to anybody that's in the same position, if they're young and they start to see the signs early, to recognise the signs they need to leave, because those signs are worse. And if you think you're staying for the kids and you think you're doing well for the kids, you're really not. Do you know? You think you're doing the right thing, but you're not. You're really not. And it's been 10 years since I split up with him, and I've been married to my husband, but now for 3 years, and I've been with him for 10 years this year, because I moved in with my husband now more or less straight away, because I was done with my marriage for a long time, so I was ready to move on. So I met him straight away, and I've been with him for 10 years, but he adopted that as well. So sometimes I think you've got to go through what you've got to go through to find who you're supposed to be with.
I think about that sometimes. If I hadn't married my first husband, I wouldn't have had my daughter. Yep. And then if I hadn't been in an abusive relationship, maybe I wouldn't have found my second husband. But then again, my second husband was kind of shitty. He was a con artist. But you know what? I learned from that. And then I decided that after my second husband, I thought, I'm never getting married again. Yeah. And I was just adamant about it. And then when I was 38, I met my husband. And I was so slow to, I knew I loved him, but I was like, oh, we're never getting married. He's like, well, yeah, we will one day. And, it changes everything that we do. I think affects us. It's kind of like water against a rock. It wears you down in different ways, and it shapes you and it smooths you. And, and sometimes it cuts through you. But, I think everything that we do in life has some effect on us, positive or negative. And we can choose whether it's positive or negative.
Oh, yeah.
I totally believe that. We can learn from our mistakes, or we can repeat them.
Yeah.
So, but tell me about your husband now.
My husband now, I met him online on a dating website. He is younger than me. He's from Northern Ireland. So it was a kind of long distance relationship to start with, because obviously I'm Scottish and I live in but I moved over to Northern Ireland after he had moved to Scotland for 8 years. So just moving over here for him, because I was like, he's given me and my kids 8 years of his life. So it's about time I gave him back,
Yeah. You know what? It says a lot that a man will move and move to you, and it's so you feel safe and you feel comfortable. And take care of you. That says a lot.
I mean, my ex-husband ended up going to jail, but it wasn't for assaulting me; it was for assaulting my husband. Because I was the same as who was the girl that spoke before? What was her name?
Joe?
No, the one
before. Love?
Love.
Yeah.
My story is really similar to hers. My husband was up at court a few times, and I went, and I didn't want him to get charged and stuff like that, because I think in the back of your mind you always think they're going to change.
Yeah, they don't.
But they don't. They never change. So he eventually got to jail for trying to beat up my husband.
Oh my God.
the process of doing that, my oldest son jumped in his back and he punched his son by accident as well.
Oh, God.
Yep. It was just messy. It was a messy time, but if I hadn't been through that messy time, I would be where I am just now, and I'm happy.
And
Do you know?
you know what? You saw what kind of a man that you're with now. You saw the difference in the man you were with and the man you are with.
Absolutely. If I hadn't been through all that, I wouldn't be where I am now. So for anybody that's feeling like nobody else will have them, do you know, they've got too much baggage and all this kind of thing, there's always somebody willing your kids and everything that comes with you. There's always somebody for you. And if you don't,
so.
definitely.
I fully believe there's more than one person out there for everybody, because let me tell you, I've been through plenty of them. Now, I'm on my third marriage, and I've dated God knows how many, and I tell my daughter, I'm like, date them all. Don't sleep with them all, but date them all. And
well, that's what she's doing.
yeah, and she's loving it, and she feels good about herself, and she's realizing, I think sometimes we're raised by our mothers to say, you better find a man and keep him, or you're not worth anything. And that's so not true. I told Madeline, I said, that's the biggest bunch of bull. I said, I can go out and find a boyfriend in about 2 hours. And we're in a small town. If I was in a big city, I could juggle.
Yeah.
And men like women, and as long as you're clean and you're decent looking, and you don't, and you don't, try to kill them on the first date, they'll stick with you. Most of them are worth staying. They aren't worth keeping, but you can find a good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that hard. And people always say,
Absolutely.
where are the good men at? Where are the good women at? And I'm like, well, you passed by a bunch of them to get to the assholes, so go backwards.
But I tell you, there's a lot of women who have bad experiences with men, like the kind of experiences you've had and I've had, and they blame all men. All men are arse.
And it's not all men.
And they're no.
I dated some really nice ones. In fact, I probably did them wrong, but I'm glad I got the one I got.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, and like Jane said, and she said, first off, what a great accent she has too. We're all loving your accent. We understand what you're saying too. And then she said, oh wow, I hate that your son had to get involved, but so proud of your son for defending you. And yes, that shows you've raised that young and right. And but I'm just so tickled, and I think we all are, that you have come through this, and 10 years of a bad marriage, and then finding someone that loves you and is protective of you and is willing to do for you. That's a success story.
Special. Very special.
And I've spoken to your son. I don't know if you know that.
Sorry?
Yeah, I commented on his videos, and I was just like, you need to come to New York. You need to join this. And he said, well, I'm a little far away. I'm like, nah, you're not. We're going over there to visit. You can, a few $100, you can come on over. But seriously, he's so talented.
I was a good boy.
Yeah, he is. He was very polite and very sweet, and I can see that you've raised him well. But, okay, my loves, does anyone else want to come on and share? Did we get to everybody that wanted to talk tonight? Now I know I've got to help what's his name? I can't even think. I told y'all I was losing my mind tonight. But she sent me a DM. I'm going to help her get her straight so we can do this again. Now, is everybody fine with doing it on Fridays, or would you like to do it twice a week? How do you all feel? Anybody in the chat?
Anytime.
I just, I want to make sure that, I get to cover everybody's stories, and this is different than a lot of the live streams that we see. That it's, Belladonna, that's it. Thank you. I knew it was a Stevie Nicks song, and I couldn't think of it. But yes, I love Stevie Nicks. But I want to make sure, I want to make this a safe place, so when people are, when women are upset and, you're going through things, because most of us who have shared our stories, we're already through them. we've already experienced it and come out the other side. So I would like to invite anyone who's watching now or who watches later on that if you're in this situation, here's a safe place to talk. And, you know, it's anonymous. You can put any name you want up, and, you know, my DMs are always open. If you're interested, then, you know, it would be good. And Jane said Fridays are fine with me. And somebody, well, we could do twice a week. Breakfast in the pudding, but I'm going to have to, you know how my time is, Lord. But somebody suggested that perhaps I should do a live stream just for men. And I don't know how well that would be received. I know men are abused. There are men who are accused of abuse that don't do it. But I don't want to get into that part of it. If a man has been abused or has been in an abusive situation, which we know it happens, I would like to invite them to come in here first. And because this is a safe space, and men are welcome if they want to share, but, you know, and then if I get so many men that I need to separate it, I will. I think that's going to be the best thing, because honestly, this does take time, but the whole idea is to not only share our stories, but to teach, to save the next girl, to save the next person. And I think that's what we're doing.
Hey, Mom, I have a question.
Oh, well, there's my girl. Hello, baby.
Hey, so I don't know, like, something that, like, I thought about, like, I think it's really cool that you're going to do, you know, something and kind of, like, breaking it up. But, I mean, also kind of just, like, discussing things where you can, like, self-analyze. Because I feel like I've probably mentally or emotionally abused a man before, plenty of times. Even though, yeah, I've been a victim before, I think there's a lot of times when, you know, we have been the aggressors in a situation and we don't really realize it. And I think that the thought of that, you know, it kind of increases the self-awareness, because, I mean, I look back to different situations and I won't go into it, but, you know, there are certain times when
there was the guy Doug, that he had a lot of money and I did not treat him well. But it was because I was getting over, you know, my stuff, and I was taking it out on him, and I feel bad about it. You know, and you're right. We need to do some introspection after we've been through the abuse. Do we become the abuser to the next guy?
I used to beat him, like, mentally and physically, how far I could before he would snap, because that's what I would do. You know, and I think it was like I was testing him.
Yeah, it's like you want to see what their breaking point is. How far do I have to push you before you hit me too?
Yeah,
never hit me.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And, like, you know, I think that's an excellent topic to bring up, Madeline. And I really appreciate that. How your nails look? Let me see where I'm at. Let me pull over to look.
My nails?
Yeah, let me see your nails.
Huh?
You'll do good work. Let me see your nail. Yes.
Oh, they look
good. Oh, they look good. Yeah, I like
it. I had the best people. They spoke English and they were from Philadelphia, and he knew exactly what I wanted, and
those are the coffin nails, aren't
that
they?
Specific person again.
Are those the coffin nails? Are they the coffin nails, Madeline?
Yes, and you know what? Like, as soon as I, like, got there, he was like, was somebody trying to go for coffin nails? And I said, yes, and you know what those are, so I am so excited to be sitting in your chair. And he reshaped them, and he was like, I'll give you coffin nails. He was like, I can totally do that. And he was like, he had to reshape every single nail, and now they're all perfectly shaped, and I am just living for this.
Okay, y'all, one thing I need to explain to everybody in the chat is that I've been taking Madeline to get her toes and nails done since she was 4, and we're a little OCD about it. What?
This little girl was sitting next to me, and she was so cute. She had red hair. She was getting her nails done too, and her mom was getting her nails done. It was so cute.
So cute.
She didn't talk to me at all because she was adorable.
That was some of the most fun times.
Just go into the comment. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, well, speak to you soon. It was nice actually speaking to you. Lovely.
I am so glad you came
Yes.
in. I love to hear you talk. You can talk all you want, and I just love it. I think it's adorable. Baby, how'd you get upstairs? What's that rotten dog? Do you see that? He's above the baby gate. The little shit got above the baby gate. Baby, get your butt down here. And see, Merlet's right there looking at him going, he's bad. He's been bad. Frankie, get down here. Oh my God, Brian's up there too. Look at Brian at the top. Brian, get down here. Come here. Look, see him come down the steps? Little butts. I tell you, if you went up there and pooped in Daddy's shoes again, I'm going to be mad. They pooped in my husband's shoes. He gets so mad. They'll go up there and they'll go squirt on his shoes. They pooped in them, and they're not cheap shoes, and he gets really, really mad. But, okay, I think I'm going to end the broadcast. I just want to know, I love you all. You love yourselves. And I will see you all next Friday at 4 o'clock, okay? Sound good? Bye. Bye. And everybody have a wonderful weekend, too, okay? So, I will talk to you later. I know my dogs are crazy. Bye. And Belladonna, I will help you. Yes, I will FaceTime you. All right. Bye, everybody. Love you all. Bye-bye. What is it? Katie says ciao. Bye.